Overall on the Gianthar River, everything went pretty simply until eventually you all had a little bit of a hiccup where something had knocked a tree across the river itself, blocking most of the canal. In the process of investigating, the teamster who was guiding the horses that were dragging along the canal barge, I believe his head got knocked off. I think his head was thrown at Doc, who was kind of the first to investigate, just behind him. Um, and Doc dispatched the ogre extremely quickly. And you all, I think, took out another couple of goblins who were just behind that. Um, and otherwise, you all made it into Baldur's Gate pretty uneventfully. Put a little bit of effort into finding Aiken Celeborn, who Ontarfroom I think forgot to actually mention that you were supposed to go find, but you all found Aiken and were able to basically get directions to a closer area where you might be able to find the caravan as they would be preparing to leave the outer city of Baldur's Gate. Overpaid for a wonderfully shitty establishment in the Fox Traveler Inn, and found yourselves the next morning trying to hire yourselves out as guards for the caravan to come. I believe Doc and Harlisle were the two who took the time to actually try to hire themselves out for a wage, and everybody else pretty much was sufficient to basically sell their services for indentured servitude. And we come to we will kind of pick up on that kind of point there if you all have anything to do before you actually leave Baldur's Gate. Otherwise, we are going to pick up slightly along the road as the caravan goes on. Does anybody have anything they would like to address before leaving Baldur's Gate?
No, thank you.
I guess really to update, Doc is going to be traveling as a sergeant for Oin Evanmore, and Doc will be in charge of both Carr and Fatil, who are guards for Oin. Arlisle is working for Green Emsa, the young lady who is kind of being sent with a bunch of different goods from her hometown in order to try to cure herself of this green flesh that she currently has. Tinus and Vicious offered their services for 10 copper a 10-day, getting paid a whopping copper a day to protect Netherite Verther, and Hadar has negotiated the fine price of food and board in order to help guard Bade Seshpul.
Yeah, but he's probably going to eat more food than the value of what I'm being paid, so he's probably
He
got himself a
didn't
good deal there.
negotiate how much food he could eat. He negotiated for food. He's going to get paid a lot less food than he probably wants.
You know, the world is not all about profit.
They are merchants. Their life is about profit.
Us, we're do-gooders. We don't care about things like money.
Yeah, speak for yourselves.
Well, if we cared about it, we'd do better at it.
Well, I care about the little green lady. I'm going to make sure she's safe
I'm gonna make sure the food is safe.
from everyone else. You're quite dexterous and sneaky, aren't you?
Probably.
You just lift food off the cart.
Well, I have that in mind.
What could possibly go wrong trying to steal food for 60 to 80 days?
80 days?
Yeah, we're going around the world, aren't we?
Most of this caravan is heading towards Waterdeep, and it is about a 60 to 80 day caravan to Waterdeep.
Hadar's going to be really skinny by then.
I tried to tell you all he was going to lose a lot of weight. So as you all head out of Baldur's Gate with your wagon train, there will be approximately 6 to 8 wagons on this first go about. Yeah, so there'll be 8 wagons in the current train. There are probably about 3 to 4 humanoids in different functions around each wagon, so you probably have about a total of 30 to 40 people in the entire wagon train as you all leave Baldur's Gate. Across the first day, it's generally a pleasant disposition for what Baldur's Gate offers, being a little bit of a more roughshod area of the Sword Coast, being next to I don't actually know the story behind the portal to hell that is Baldur's Gate and Avernus, but regardless, you all are heading away from that general area into the Fields of the Dead. The first day is a pretty uneventful day, as you all are heading out of the city itself. Everything is a little bit slower of a go, but overall it is a pretty uneventful day as you head out. The real big thing that would kind of stick out across anything is a young rock gnome would approach Arlyle at some point, eyeing your amulet of Soon as she approaches, and kind of for the first time speaking, she's kind of just been riding on the cart ahead of you. Hasn't really interacted with anybody, and towards one of the earlier breaks where everybody gives the horses time to rest, she kind of approaches. Hello there, sir. That's a fine piece of jewelry you've got there. You willing to sell that there amulet? I've got a gold for it.
Well, you're right to admire it, but it's worth far more than just one gold piece, little one.
How about you wager a little bit on it? A nice little gamble. We could make some sort of bet here. Roll a bit of 3 dice ante. See who can win off that from you, and maybe part with it. Just this one time.
I mean, I like the proposition, but I'm not really one for gambling myself personally. So, if you stump up a fair price, like say 500 gold, I suppose I could part ways with it for now, and you can consider yourself a devotee of Soon.
500 gold seems pretty steep. How about 1 gold? 1 gold? I'd really love to buy that for a gold.
I most certainly am sure that you would, but I can assure you that is nowhere near worth parting with this amulet for that. It's definitely worth at least 500.
500 copper?
Maybe you time that by 1,000 times over. That'll probably be closer to what we're getting at, but unfortunately not. No, it's not
Excellent.
something.
So we'll settle for 1 gold. And she starts shaking your hand. 1 gold it is. Well, I'll just be taking that from you.
I think you're getting a bit confused there. That's not at all what we agreed on. Just because you grabbed my hand and shook it. Here's one for you. How would you like to be punched in the face? And I'm going to grab her hand and just start shaking it. Oh, it's a
Excellent.
deal.
1 gold it is. I'll take that amulet, please.
You can have the amulet when you give me 500 gold pieces. That's the deal.
I feel like you've mistaken how this bargain's worked out for me.
As I think is the same for yourself. You seem to be somewhat confused. You haven't hit your head, have you, little one?
Well, you just keep thinking about it, and then when you're ready to sell it for a gold, just let me know.
Okay, as soon as I change my mind, you'll be the first to know.
Good to hear, good to hear. So as the carts start to move away, she doesn't really leave you alone, just more or less going over this over and over again, trying to bargain your amulet from you for a single gold. And over a good bit of time, the wagon train starts to set back up to prepare to head on for the latter half of the day. And it's not kind of until the last moment, more or less, until she hops back on the wagon, and you spend the rest of the day awkwardly staring at this person who has clearly had no clue that she was not actually bargaining for your amulet at all. But she just kind of like stares off at you, occasionally like winking and kind of signing the kind of where the amulet sits on your chest. Just kind of like continuing focusing on that amulet that you seem to be wearing.
I'm going to take hold of it and tuck it into my shirt so it's out of view, but the chain will still be visible around my neck.
And she'll just like kind of like tap on her chest, just like almost caressing where the amulet rests on yourself, as she continues to stare back at you.
It's art, and art sells for a good price.
1 gold!
500 gold.
So other than that, the first few days kind of go away with little fanfare. This person seems to have a bit of infinity for Arlyle as she continues to try to bid for this little item, never really going over just a few little coins. Offering what little bit she can and attempting to get him to actually wager it on a game of chance, if at all accessible. Otherwise, this person seems to be pretty silent. She eats alone. She doesn't really join most of the actual party. Doesn't actually seem to be a part of the caravan so much as she has maybe paid her way onto one of these carts. But is essentially kind of one of the people who is traveling north under the protection of the caravan, but not necessarily providing much herself. And you all, from the different functions of the different people that you have been hired underneath, have basically started to get the little bits of information that your party will be entering the more proper fields of the dead across the third or fourth day of your travels. Most of the teams seem to be pretty well situated. Hadar, you would find that Bayed Seshpool is one of the nicer people to his actual teams. As he feeds them, you can kind of eye the food that he gives to the team of horses and notice that he seems to be weighing out almost a double measure for the horses as he seems to be feeding you. Definitely with your appetite, it would be the type of thing that you would notice he seems to really care for his horses. And Vicious, you would notice that Neherite is nearly the exact opposite, feeding his horses very sparsely. He's very quick to go to the whip to try to get the horses to actually move along, and almost always pays little attention to them in the different breaks that the wagon train takes during the day. But across the first day, you would already notice that some of his horses are starting to chafe, where their different bardage kind of sits across their chest and whatnot, and they seem to be whipped more than perhaps any other team of horses in this entire caravan that you all are joining on. And probably that would be the first 2 or so days of your travel. Little to nothing actually happening for you all.
Just when the little goblin, whenever she's sort of off on the road and things like that, I just want to make sure that my character doesn't sort of let her out of his sight, and he goes and checks on her and stuff to make sure she's okay.
Green Imsa?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, you would be riding on the cart with her. Like, you guys have all been hired to ride with different teams.
That's what I mean. But just like if at any point she's sort of wandering off the road, I just want to make sure she's not being, going too far, and that she's within eyesight all the time.
Yeah, it's more or less assumed that each of you are all doing that for your actual leaders. Just as part of like what you've been hired as for guards, that's pretty much your job, is to keep track of both the actual merchant as well as the actual team itself. But everybody is essentially joining into a single unit here. There's not a big like striation in the different groups. Everybody understands the more or less danger of what is traveling through the wild. Very few people are as cavalier about doing it as adventurers are. But other than that, most everybody has a air of tension about themselves as this journey begins, and the stress and nerves only is getting exponentially worse as you all get closer and closer to the fields of the dead, where across the first day or so, you're in like a mountainous region and there's definitely grass and things growing. But even into the second and then the third day, there's less and less actual like live vegetation. And it's clearly noticeable that there is definitely a pox, if not like air of death, that more or less delineates the difference between a city alive with water like Baldur's Gate and this like mini desert that has sort of popped up along the trail north towards, or rather north out of Baldur's Gate. But otherwise, unless anybody had anything in particular they wanted to accomplish, that's kind of just going to be the first few days.
No, good thanks.
So on the third day, as you all get a little bit deeper into things, you would come across the actual upturned wagon across its side. It seems to have things thrown across the ground as you notice that they seem to have some of the crates almost buried around themselves. And as you all are approaching from 100 or so feet away, you would see a group of humans who seem to be surrounded by hobgoblins.
Do we all see it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, everybody would see it. The entire wagon train is approaching this scene.
Just going to shout out to everyone. Right, we've got some ahead, guys. It's all be careful, stay close to your caravans. Is anyone able to tell what's going on there? Looks to be like a classic case of bastard hobgoblin.
Doc will look over to Carr and Fatil and say, make sure that you keep the master protected. Follow my lead, but looks like we found a little trouble.
I'm gonna look to I forgot his name, and I'm gonna say, no. If you want me to protect you, I want as much food as the horses get, or else I only protect the food and the horses.
Now, you can't renegotiate now. You've already signed the contract and everything. You have agreed to what your price is.
No, I mean, if I get my food, I can do my job better, and if you die, you're dead. I mean, I will try to protect you, but you make
Well,
it
I do
worth for
believe
me
you might
how
find
good I
yourself
protect you.
walking the rest of the way. So, if you don't intend to do your job as negotiated, then it is perfectly fine for you to walk and not enjoy the pleasures of the caravan itself. I hope you brought enough food for yourself to walk the entire way into Water's Gate. Be well to you, good sir.
And he's gonna see. I'm gonna remember that.
About how far away are we right now from the hobgoblins?
You're in sight of this general thing, so you would probably be like 200 feet away from the whole happening.
All right, Doc will draw his longbow and prepare a arrow just in case there appears to be any hostility breaking out. Does it appear pretty clear though that they are getting ready to attack?
I don't think any adventurer would see this for anything other than a besieged wagon.
All right, I'm gonna start closing the distance.
I'll move up with him.
I would want to stick by my caravan for the moment.
Can we tell how many hobgoblins there appear to be?
You see about 8 hobgoblins at present.
All right, Doc will ready an arrow if any of them attempt to attack.
Should we usher the carts to try and move around them or something, or stay back?
The scene is more or less happening on the road, so if you want to get anybody to go around it, they have to actively leave the road, essentially.
All right, may as well just tell them to stay in place then, do you reckon, Doc?
Vicious, are you staying with your wagon, and it's just the two of you heading forward?
Yeah, I'll stay with the wagon.
So how far do you two intend to close the distance, and what would you
Wait.
like to do once you do close the distance? What was your question
I'm
there,
planning-
Hadar?
No, nothing. Go ahead. Sure.
My bad, Doc. What were you thinking?
I'll continue just moving up and just sort of see what type of reaction we get out of them until we're close enough that we can converse with the hobgoblins.
They don't really seem to react at first, so you all would be able to close to about like 60 or so feet before they seem to notice you.
Looks like you found yourself in quite the predicament. I think if you're looking for trouble, you found it here, not there.
What sort of trouble do you intend to bring to us? We're here for our prey. It's not yours. Why is it yours to worry about?
And he'll look back at him, smile, and say, "Do I look worried?
Then move along.
Who do you serve, and what makes you think that this road is just an area that you can prey on?"
This is our land. Don't you worry about what we prey on. You all have come prepared enough that we don't look at you as food. But these here intend to leave without paying the toll or being prepared for any assault.
And what do you intend to do with them? You've already wrecked their wagon and left them abandoned out here.
We do as we would in our land. It's no business of yours.
And suppose that I was curious and decided to make it my business?
With that, he would wave his hand as a good chunk of his soldiers kind of reposition themselves, all of them drawing to different levels of their weapons.
I think it best that you release these people and allow this entire caravan to go on its way.
Would you pay their toll that they have left unpaid?
Just out of curiosity, what do you wish for a toll? Because I have a feeling that what I offer as payment may not be what you desire.
Toll is cheap enough when it's for one's life. It's only everything valuable that they currently have.
Oh, that sounds like quite the deal. And you would ask this toll of our party as well?
I've already said if you would just simply piss off and be on your way, you're welcome to pass by.
Just out of curiosity, where is your army?
We are everywhere about this place. You are surrounded even now.
Interesting. So if we don't feel like a threat to you, or you don't feel like you could take our goods, I suspect that this is your entire party. And he'll look over at Arla and see what kind of reaction Arlyle's giving him.
Just going to smile at him and nod, and I'm just going to clutch the handle of my sword. But what I'm thinking is, sounds like potentially we could just get past them without a fight. That we just let them loot that shit and we go, but we need to speak to them about that.
And how many of these random pedestrians are there?
What, in our caravan?
No, like the other caravan that's like overturned with the people or whatever.
You're probably still like about 100 feet or so away from them. The hobgoblins have basically like stopped you at about that 60-foot mark, and they are between the two groups basically. But you've seen a couple of people peeking out. Let me have a perception check from you, and Arlyle can roll one as well. You have a good idea that there's at least 3 people hiding behind these carts. But realistically, you've probably noticed maybe 2 different people who seem to be in some sort of like equipment for battle, as well as 1 person who seems to be wearing like furs and finer clothes of sorts.
Are you prepared to barter for the lives of these people?
But simple creatures with simple desires, what would you barter for their lives?
Well, let's see. Perhaps you would trade their lives for yours.
Their lives are already forfeit. What would you pay us to save theirs?
Are you so sure that yours are not? Perhaps you underestimate us.
I'm just going to turn back to the caravan and just give a wave to everyone, as if to say to come to us, just our party, not the caravans, that is.
Okay, I'm gonna start to head that way then.
I'm still waiting next to the caravan.
If you intend to barter, make a deal. If you intend to leave, leave. Your time and my patience are running short.
Doc will look over one more time at Arlyle, and he'll pull out a cigarette and light it.
I'm just going to nod again, and I'm going to clutch at my sword again, and then I'm going to gesture towards Hadar, and I'm going to hold it with 3 fingers.
And I need everybody to roll initiative.
No idea why I rolled 4 times.
Hang on, still working on it.
Don't forget to click your token, Jamie.
There are no tokens to click.
No tokens.
That was a test.
Yeah, I answered it and was like, oh, I get what you're doing there.
Alrighty, so as you see the leader of the hobgoblins twitch at the 3 sign from Arlyle, what would you like to do, Doc?
I will. I guess I will draw down my bow to him and go ahead and fire at the. Let me ask you this: looking at the hobgoblins, I guess at this point in time, we're about 20 or 30 feet away from the initial 3, and then there's 3 more at the cart. Is that right?
No, you all would have stopped about 60 feet from the actual hobgoblins. And then you're about 40 feet from the cart of the 3 humans.
Okay, so sorry, just so I can get a better idea. So there's like all the hobgoblins are still kind of together in between us and the other cart, or we're kind of closer to the other cart now than the hobgoblins?
No, they are still between you. They basically were in a crescent around the cart itself and sort of redeployed into a crescent that formed around the 2 of you.
Okay, I got you. And we're about 40 feet away from the hobgoblins.
60. And then about 40.
Okay.
It's
I got
like
you. And
60 feet to the hobgoblins and then 100 feet from you to the cart, but like 40 feet from the hobgoblins to the cart.
I got you. I misunderstood that. Okay. So there's not really any hobgoblins still like threatening the actual cart itself. They've kind of all like redeployed to like answer our threat.
Yeah, for what it's worth, your presence has been enough of an interruption that those people are at least somewhat out of danger.
Okay, that's what I was kind of going for. I was going to decide between attacking the hobgoblins that were a threat to us versus the civilians. Okay, so that being said, appreciate that. Does it appear that the leader of the hobgoblins is wearing like armor, or do they all sort of appear like the same kind of?
I don't think it would be much to ask that they all seem pretty heavily armored to you.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and pop a shot off at the leader of the hobgoblins. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a disarming attack on top of that.
A 22 hits.
And as he releases that arrow, he will say, "Drop your weapons and prepare to be judged." And that'll be I think it's DC 14.
Yep, DC 14. You would see as he drops his bow.
And then I'm going to go ahead and pop off one more shot at him. And I'm going to go ahead and spend a luck point on that. Yeah, obviously not going to hit. And that's going to do it for me.
So the captain is going to holler out a command to charge and to close the distance for you all. In the process, he is going to, I guess he's going to draw a javelin from his waist bandolier, and he is going to throw a javelin into Doc. And he will have a 15 to hit.
Yeah, 15 hits.
And he will do 8 piercing damage.
Sounds good.
And from there is going to go to another one of the hobgoblins behind him, who is going to rush forward with the captain, and he is going to take a shot as well at Doc. And he will have a 15 to hit.
Yeah, 15's my AC.
Lucky man.
Double ones for the damage. He will do 3 damage piercing.
Affirmative.
And then let's see, there's one more who's going to charge forward as well. He's going to take a shot at Arlisle. A nat 1. He's going to plink off of one of the armors of the hobgoblins in front of him. And it will go to Vicious. You are, what did I say? I think I said 200 feet away from the caravan. So you are about 160 feet back right now, Vicious.
All right, so I'm going to move forward my 30 feet and then use my crossbow on whoever threw the javelin at Doc.
You will be at disadvantage outside of 100 feet, so that will miss.
All right, that's it.
Then it will go to Hadar. We'll put you at, you kind of moved a little bit quicker, so we'll put you at like 150 feet away.
Well, I'm gonna use my my action and my I'm gonna use my action to move closer. So I'm gonna move for 80 feet this turn, and that would be my turn then. Yeah.
Are you rolling towards him like a bowling ball?
Yeah, you can see him going up and down on the way.
Like
And then
fat
it
orange
will-
Sonic.
It will go to Arlisle.
No, so how far away am I from the hobgoblin? Sorry.
3 of the hobgoblins have moved forward, and they are just outside of 30 feet.
Okay, I'm gonna, as an action, imbue my sword as my divine weapon. I'm just ping it now. Sorry, sacred weapon. And then as a bonus action, I'm going to cast Compel Jewel on one of the full HP hobgoblins.
Just one of the 2 that are closest to you.
Yeah, that's still on full HP.
Your DC is 14.
Yep.
He rolled a 14, so he will be good. He seems, I don't know, kind of to shake off his head a little bit and look at you with a little bit of a chuckle.
Okay, then I'll just move forwards then, and I'll go my full range of 30 feet and just go toe-to-toe with the closest goblin. And
We
that'll end
have
my turn.
a 50-50 roll to see if it was 30 feet or beyond 30 feet. You're looking for an 11 plus. You are
50.
able to close that round range, and you are right up with the initial 3 hobgoblins staring down the one that you just compelled.
Okay, sounds good. Ends my turn, thank you. I'm going to say, Christ, well, I'm not going to say Christ, I'm going to say, heavens, you smell. Don't bleed on me, okay?
So let's see. I'm just going to do the next 3 hobgoblins are going to close the ground as they release arrows at Arlisle. All right, so I have a crit, a 21, and the 13 misses. What's your AC on Arlisle?
19.
19. All right, so 2 hits. I believe it is 4d8 and then 2d8. So 19 and 14 damage.
Fucking hell. Just my classic luck. A 21 and a fucking crit.
And then the next 2 are going to shoot at Doc. Actually, you know what? I should delineate one of those is going to shoot at Hadar. So it is a 15 to hit Doc. I believe you said that was your AC. For 9, 10 damage. And then there's a crit on Hadar. 3, 10, 15, 16 damage to Hadar.
I'm going to use a spear already died to Perry.
I'm gonna use a reaction.
So I negate 10 damage. That should be all of it.
Did I negate how much damage was it to me? I want to use my reaction to deflect the missile and throw it back if possible. Wait, I can't throw it back because I'm out of range to throw it back. But I can still catch it.
It's 20 to 60 feet. Yeah, so you, well, no, they're, yeah, you're 70 from the actual fight, right
Yeah.
now. What is it? It's a D10 to see how much you reduce.
Yeah, a D10 plus plus my dexterity modifier and monk level.
Yeah, but you never actually roll the D10 to see if you can reduce. You have to be able to reduce all of the
Oh, it's a
damage before you can deflect it.
I clicked it. Oh yeah, I clicked the wrong button. I talked to.
So 13 damage. I feel like it was 16 total.
Yeah, it was 16. So I'm taking 3 damage then. If I calculate, 1 second. I have a +3 and then I'm level 5 here, so I deflect 13 damage, so I have 3 damage to me.
And then it will go to Doc. You are now 30 feet away from pretty much all of the hobgoblins who have basically closed the ground around Arlisle.
And there's 6 of them in total, including the leader?
7 in total.
7
Oh wait,
in
no,
total.
there are
Okay.
8 in total.
Oh, sorry, 8 in total. Okay. All right, I will go ahead and let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and sling my bow around to the side, and I will grab a dagger and chuck it at the lead hobgoblin. And one more time. And let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and do a luck on that one. Oh, I think I'll like that a little better. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use a superiority die as well. For did he ever pick up his weapon?
No, he left the bow behind. So I need you to roll a D4 as well as the D8.
Okay.
I guess really it's 2D8 and the D4.
Okay, sorry. I'm just marking off my luck and my superiority die. And it's going to be another drop attack on him. All right, so it should be a total of
26.
Okay, sweet.
Is your drop attack the only one that you have that is like an increased damage?
Yeah, I have like the one parry, the one to add to hit, and then the one to make him drop his weapon.
Gotcha, because he wouldn't actually be holding anything at that point. He threw a javelin at you all.
Oh, yeah, it's the only one that increases the damage. Yeah, I get what you're asking. And then is he looking bloodied? Is he looking fine? What am I getting any kind of vibes?
That definitely tore the fuck out of him. He is still holding on, but he's definitely looking severely bloodied at that point.
All right, with that, I'm going to chuck one more dagger at him.
So that's an action surge?
Oh, no, it's just a bonus action because I have 2 base attacks, and then I can use a bonus. Yeah, 18 to hit.
That will miss. Thinks off his armor and just kind of plinks into the ground.
All right, I will go ahead and use my action surge. And then I'm going to throw one more dagger at him. Wow, that was useless. I guess I'll use a luck on that last.
So wait a second.
Shit.
You should have only rolled 2 of those. Did you mean for any of those to not be sharpshooter? What was going on there?
Oh, yeah. I didn't actually realize I rolled that first one. Sorry. So I did not mean for any of them to be sharpshooter 1. I thought I rolled the 7 first, and the 13 was my second roll. So I guess I'm going to add the plus to hit to the first one if I can. Yeah, I did not mean for any of them to be sharpshooter just because he's already real hard to hit. Wait, damn, what did I do?
So you should only have 2 attacks out of that instead of those.
Yeah, I should only have 2
4.
attacks for this. I rolled the first dagger sharpshooter was the 18.
All right, the 18 would have been your bonus
one.
attack. Yeah, so the action surge is 2 of those last 3.
Okay, so the action surge should be the 14 and the 7, and then I'm going to add my plus to hit to the 14 one, I guess.
All right, as far as that normally goes, you've got to choose normally before you actually roll another one, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll just let it go.
Are you planning on using the luck still?
Oh, I used the luck already on the 1, didn't I?
All right, I need you to roll a d20 for me.
Oh, no, not on one of these 2 attacks. I used the luck in the beginning, didn't I?
Yeah, I just need you to roll a d20. If you roll a nat 1, you have a chance of hitting Arlisle.
He was severely bloody.
That'll definitely hit. So what is it? 2d4, 2 4s. So it's going to do 8 plus 3, 11 more damage to Arlisle.
Arlisle's unconscious. Exactly 11 left.
Yeah, that's right, because it's a d4 plus 3 normally. Yep. Wonderful. Alrighty. Yeah. So after Doc, it will go to the hobgoblins. The captain is going to pick up Arlisle's body. as he draws his greatsword, and he is going to rest his greatsword across Arlyle's throat, and he's going to order you all to halt. As far as things go, you all recognize this as he is holding his action to slit Arlyle's throat. And it will go to the next hobgoblin, who's going to draw his bow and hold an arrow at the ready. Another hobgoblin will do the same, and then it will go to Vicious.
I'm going to continue to close and shoot again at the same
Alright.
target.
Arlyle, lose 2 death saving throws as he slits your throat. And then 2 arrows are going to fly at Vicious, and they will both miss.
Do I get to shoot? Not clear.
You can roll the shoot. Nope, they were holding their actions for anybody to continue to move. So the moment that you kept moving, they would have taken their actions.
I did not help in the
So
slightest.
you would be inside of 100, so it is just a straight shot. A 9 is going to miss. And then it is going to go to Hadar.
Well, seeing that the fight is being continued, I'm gonna roll. Wait, I'm 70 feet away, so I'm gonna.
You are 70 feet from them.
I'm gonna use 40 feet of my movement to get closer, and then I'm gonna attack. So, is there all when I move 40 feet, how many are in my range, and which one is this, anyone specifically low, or is the one who's targeting ally with his sword?
Well, he is currently slitting Arlyle's throat, so that's already happened. But essentially, all of them are roughly at that 30-foot mark once you move 40.
Well, I'm gonna try to attack the one who's already slit Arlyle's shirt with a Radiant Sunbolt, and with another one.
Both of those will miss.
Well, and that would be the end of my turn.
The second of them would have just kind of sunk into the armor and just sort of been absorbed into it. And then I need a death saving throw from Arlyle. 1 positive. Alrighty. So the next ones are going to shoot 2 arrows at Doc, 2 arrows at Hadar, and 1 arrow at Vicious. 13 will miss Doc, and a 5 will miss Doc. A 20 should hit Hadar, and a 6 should miss Hadar.
I'm gonna use my reaction for the deflect missile then. But yeah, need the
And it'll
damage.
do 6 damage, so I think that's auto deflected.
Yeah.
And then a 1, let's see. So one of them will shoot into the back of another one of the hobgoblins. And you have to actually roll your d10 still, though. Are you just catching it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna catch it.
All right. So
you said 6 damage, but I'm also I have the level 5 plus my modifier, so I'm at 8 anyway.
yeah, my point is whether you were just catching it or whether you were doing something with it. I didn't actually mean that you had to roll it.
Yeah. No, I'm just catching it.
So it will commence back to Doc. Some of those hobgoblins would have kind of backed off, I think, at that point. So, like, the last 4 hobgoblins kind of stepped back, heading a little bit more distance. But it will go back to Doc.
All right, so we still got the captain of the hobgoblins and 2 of his buddies, and he's holding Arlyle right now, and then 4 are sort of stepping back.
Yeah, so it's the captain and 3 hobgoblins seem to be at the front line. The captain is still holding Arlyle, and then 4 of the others have stepped backward.
All right, affirmative. All right, so I guess Doc will do, let's see, so we know he has at least 19 armor. So yeah, I'm going to use my longbow on him. Actually, let me ask you this. Okay, I'm going to use my longbow on him. And then I'm going to add on hang on 1 second, I'm trying to do the math. All right, yeah, I'm going to use a luck point first to try to get better. And then I'm going to try to use a superiority die on that one. There we go.
Will
so
hit.
23.
He seems to be holding on with, like, the slightest shred of life at that point.
Dear God. All right, I'm going to shoot him one more time. And with that, With that, I will close the distance to him, and I'll say to him, "It's not him you want, it's me." And I will, I guess, just I can't really do anything to try to make him like release Arlisle or anything. So I'll just like engage him and make sure that he thinks I'm a threat. But as I run up, I will pull out my flask and take a sip and use my bonus action for second wind. So I'll be back to full.
He is going to drop to a knee, positioning Arlisle in front of him, holding the hilt of his sword to the ground, essentially propping Arlisle's spine across the blade of his sword. Call off your dogs! If they move 1 inch closer, this one is done. And you would see like the spurt of blood coming from Arlisle, as he basically is once again holding an action to murder your friend if you all move any closer. So it
Just
will
shoot
go
it.
to 2 more hobgoblins. They are going to do the same thing, drawing their bow. And position it to vicious. What would you like to do?
I am stopping.
I just killed him. That was the shittest tank ever. He went from full HP to 0 in 1 turn with 1986.
And then to Hadar.
Well, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna look what our front line is gonna do.
Kill him, kill him.
You know, if you say we should kill him, then we're gonna kill ally.
Arlisle is unconscious, so he can't actually give you any actual commands.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna wait for a second now and give the change for Doc to choose what he's gonna do.
So the hobgoblin closest to Doc will draw out his sword and shield. And then the 4 that have moved away will draw arrows across the group, and it will go back to Doc.
Quite the predicament. It appears I've got my seat at the table. Your life for his. Release Arlisle and be on your way. And then I will, I guess, hold action for if he makes any threatening whatever towards Arlisle.
We require a bounty from you to leave this place. Let's see. Oh no. 24 gold pieces for this one's life.
Can I speak at a turn or?
I'm just gonna stand by. So I mean,
At this point, he is essentially still holding Arlisle. Oh shit, I need another death saving throw from Arlisle. That would have changed a lot before Doc even had a turn right there. Essentially at this point, he is like it's stepped out of initiative. The only reason that we need any sense of initiative right now is for Arlisle's actual saves. So while you can sort of speak out of turn, you still only have 6 seconds between each time that I have to call for a death save from Arlisle.
Gotcha.
Who's currently at 2 and 2.
All right, so Doc will respond with, I have no gold to give. Is your life not worth 24?
It's well worth whatever it costs to stop those who would infringe upon our hunting grounds. Unless anybody else had anything to go to, the other 2 hobgoblins still next to the captain would draw out their sword and shields. And then we would have it go back to another death save from Arlisle.
Nobody else has 24 gold. Nice rolls, by the way, Josh. Way to really leave it up to us.
We're working for coppers.
So once, just out of curiosity, once he's made 3 death saves and is stabilized, does he get 3 death saves back? Is that how it works?
I think at this point he is stable where he will not have to make death saves. But for what this situation is, you all have to negotiate without letting this coup de grace happen. The next attack will have to be a coup de grace.
Yeah, I got you.
Like he's straight up, he's going to be a paraplegic if he's able to live from this next attack. I don't know. For what it's worth, it's not the type of thing when something like this happens that charging forward is supposed to be a viable option. You are supposed to negotiate when they have your friend by the neck.
Right.
I'm just gonna shout from the back. I have 7 copper.
Y'all have 87 gold in the party loot list. They're asking for 24 to save Arlyle's life.
Is it worth 24 gold, guys, to save all?
He's not worth it. He's not worth fucking 24 copper.
We can pay the gold.
But okay, we can talk out of context. That could be a little bit strange. So
Yeah, I don't know who actually like has like the party loot or whatever, but we could just assume that it was Raz or whatever.
Yeah, Raz was holding it.
So Tynus can approach forward with the bag of gold and kind of count out the different pieces. And he will present them to the hobgoblin.
And I will take Arlyle's body and wave to Vicious. See to our friend Vicious. With your medical kit, obviously.
All right. I will get Arlyle, and I will use the medical kit on him.
I'm gonna get a little bit closer than 2.
The hobgoblins are going to head out at that point, well before kind of anything really goes down. They are going to seem to kind of run off into the sands, and very quickly seem to disappear into some sort of hidden egress.
So did they leave the other wagon behind the people, or did they take them with them?
Nope, they took your gold and they left the wagon. So as that all kind of boils down, from behind the wagon, a female human of pretty nice attire kind of is the first to stand forward as the hobgoblins are running off into the distance. And she's going to yell out for you all. Oh, thank you all dearly. Thank you. You're so well met. Thank you so much. Venetia, Finevel, please, right the cart. We should join this caravan promptly.
Yes, I'm glad we could assist you. Looks like we got here just in time. Unfortunately, it didn't quite go how I pictured, but appears everyone has survived. And I can go over and help them right the cart if I could.
Excuse me. Do you guys probably have some meal for me as a little reward? Some good ham or something? You know,
I'm very sorry, most obtuse one. We really have rations for our trip to Waterdeep and little else than that. I think you should probably rest on whatever source of food that you've left Baldur's Gate with. It's a long journey to have not prepared for such things.
yeah, you know, I'm some sort of a diet, having a diet at the moment, so you know, a snack on the way would be great. But I mean, if you can't afford it, what can we do?
I'm confident that you'll be able to beat the diet. You'll find a way.
You can see Hader looking at his stomach, which shrinks for like 4 to 5 centimeters in the last few weeks or days.
Vicious, did you use your healer's kit on Arlyle?
Yeah, I did. 1 use, so I still have 9.
Okay, cool. So he's back conscious.
What is it? It's a D8 plus the number of hit dice plus 4.
Yeah, I think it's a D8 plus 5 plus 4.
Oh, it's a D6 plus 4 plus his hit dice. So roll a D6 for us, Vicious. All right, so Arlyle will come back with 10 hit points. As the 2 wagon trains kind of combine together as the others head forward, you'll see as some of the other caravanners from your group help the others as they start to set the different crates back up on top of the caravan, of the wagon, and then with a little short order, the woman seems to have one of her guards who stands at her side while the other two are progressing forward, reloading everything. And it seems like they take a few moments to bandage one of their horses, but otherwise they seem to be somewhat prepared to get back on the way. And in short order, the caravan is ready to ride out.
Doc will light up a cigarette and approach Arla. I hate that hobgoblin. Arlyle, I do apologize. I may have struck you with one of my daggers. If you don't mind, I'd like to have that back. And I'll reach over and like pull the dagger out of him.
Is it yours? Sorry, apologies. Yes, of course you can have it back. Don't worry about it.
Yes, I think. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good. My bad.
I think I got a little bit ahead of myself. I did not realize how well armored those hobgoblins were. They were quite the adversaries.
Yeah, I think 3 people against 8 of them was probably a bad pairing, but we had to do something.
Yeah, you
Perhaps
guys
the
could have
end
waited for
worked.
us.
Oh, go ahead, my bad.
Yeah, you guys probably should have waited for me to join you.
Not sure how long we could have waited. We thought it was pretty clear what was happening there when you see an overturned wagon, Hadar. But regardless, I'm glad that you were all right there. I do apologize for my misstep.
Don't worry about it. I'm sorry that you've had to part with 24 gold. Maybe our friends here whose lives we've just saved have got 24 gold to repatriate.
Oh, that's
Easy.
awfully generous of you, but no, we're fine. We do appreciate you saving our lives and whatnot, but much appreciated, and a firm handshake, and thank you very much.
A golden handshake, I assume, for the blood that I've lost, and also the emotional turmoil my friends have suffered in saving your lives. We could
Well,
have just carried on.
I'm not actually a healer, so it's really just a handshake, but I do really appreciate you all being caring and wonderful citizens of the Sword Coast.
I mean, those are some
So-
pretty nice clothes you got on there. You must have a bit of gold somewhere.
That's wonderful for you to notice. I appreciate the understanding of my fashion sense and the care that I take into my presentation.
So you guys plan to join the caravan and pay nothing and get protection, or once you guys plan?
Well, I'm not sure if you understand how a caravan works, but if we travel together, we all share the protection that we offer. So yes, we do indeed plan to join this caravan.
Yeah, and who's gonna protect you if you don't pay them?
Well, all of these here guards, yourselves, and my 3 guards here will all lend a hand together.
Man, you guys did a great job previously, so
Yeah, some
it
more
would
than
be a shame if there will be some more hobgoblins attacking this caravan.
Pay no mind to these people. You're welcome to join us. Gold comes easy and it goes easy. 24 is nothing to worry about. I'm just glad that we were able to diffuse the situation without any casualties.
So
It
yeah,
was
we got
very-
your back, you lovable scamp. I'm going to ruffle his hair with my extremely bloody hand. Sorry, her hair.
I think you'll all. Please, no. Please. I think you all will find that the least of our problems will be hobgoblins. And she kind of like snaps her fingers at one of her guards, and they promptly like bring a nice comb to her.
Just out of curiosity, what are you doing out here so lone? You don't appear to be too well equipped to be traveling on your own.
Oh well, we had left. Half a 10-day ago, 4 or 5 days, and maybe it's hard to tell, but maybe 3 or 4 days ago. No, 2 days. She kind of looks over at one of her guards. 2 days ago, I think it was. We had a a little issue with the cart, and we lost most of our caravan at that point here. And we've spent the last few days, as these hobgoblins seem to assault us at different points. They seem to have some sort of tunnels positioned in the sand here, and they make their way to ambush us at their will. It's been all that we can do to hold ourselves at bay.
Out of curiosity, did you fell any of them, or?
They seem to take most of their dead, as she looks around, kind of glancing around the field. I would say Meldros at least had taken 2, and I think each of the others had taken 1, but I believe that they take their dead from the field as they retreat.
Interesting, understood. And when you say that they are the least of our worries, what exactly did you mean by that?
As she kind of like goes to like comb through her hair, and like a little like darkness kind of like sits over her visage as she's like starts to think. Oin kind of steps up behind you, and as he like kind of pats you on the back, Oin's like, "They don't call it the fields of the dead for nothing, my friend. There's some sort of curse that rests across this land. There's little that we can do other than fight off the dead that seem to rise and come about on a regular basis."
You say the dead
dead?
rise, do you?
I believe the most likely reason that these hobgoblins take their dead is to prevent them from actually becoming the undead. I think you would find that they are burning those corpses to destroy the bones, prevent them from rising again. Such abominations who would live in this place most surely have a way of dealing with the dead that they create.
Interesting. I'm not too familiar with this type of sorcery, but if it was up to me, there'd be one more body for them to be burning, and it'll sort of like give like an angry grin that he didn't get to kill that hobgoblin leader.
Well, if you ask me, that was a really great interview. You did a good job. Although, probably best not to knife your friend in the back. Could have gone better. But it was pleasing to see that there's a reason that I hired you at such a high cost.
Yes, in retrospect, that didn't exactly go how I had planned. Possibly my morning drinking had interfered with my proficiency in combat, but that's all behind us now.
And with that, wait, shit, let me grab her. Radisir, the little rock gnome, is going to come up to Arlisle and kind of pat you on probably a little bit more raw section of the back. If you die, can I get that amulet from you? Give you like, I don't know, a couple of gold for your burial costs. Otherwise, I'd really like to still get that wonderful amulet. It's quite pretty. I really like her red hair.
All right, you got yourself a deal. If I die before we get to our destination, you don't need to give any gold. It's all yours. All right.
Excellent. I'm really glad that we don't even have to bury you. Maybe your friends will pay for that, but and she kind of looks across everybody else. You hear that? If he dies, the amulet's mine.
Yes, provided I'm not killed by you or anyone else in this caravan. I'm not going to flash a look at Doc.
Why would I kill you?
For the record, if I get the kill, I get the loot, so be careful.
It was just not the Oh, because you stabbed him in the back.
He'll just give Arlisle a little wink. Everyone, gather yourselves for a few moments, and we'll be on our way shortly. I'd rather not stay in this area for too long. It's not to know that hobgoblin does not hold a grudge, and we'll be back with more of his companions.
Can I buy the amulet from you if you kill him?
Why are you so obsessed with the amulet?
Well, I mean, it's pretty, and I really like her look, but I've never really seen anything quite so wonderful, so I kind of just wanted to see if I could buy it.
Well, maybe once you've sorted out your whole green thing you've got on the go, you could go to the temple and see if you could join yourself.
That is not Green Imsa. That is, I only have
Oh,
so
sorry.
many voices. Definitely a little rock gnome, not a human.
Fair enough.
It's the
Well,
silent
then,
person on another one of the carts who's basically just been sitting across the back of the cart. More or less, what is it, 3 days into this journey? They've spoken to literally like nobody except for you, Arlyle, and it would probably be the first time that Doc or anyone else heard this person speak, as she kind of like made the negotiation with Doc, like, hey, if you kill him, can I still have the amulet?
I got it. Sorry, I thought that was it was the little green one he was asking for. That's why I was like, they're on their own. I'll go over and talk to them. So that's why I was saying that. But yeah, I didn't realize it was a different one. My mistake.
Hey, so I know obviously everything played out how it did, and I don't technically get the kill for Arlyle on that one because he did pass his death saves. But in the future, when you had me roll the D20, is that like to hit Arlyle basically, like for his armor class?
Yeah, at this point, I think the best way to do self hits, like a critical fumble, instead of doing like a fumble chart where bad shit happens, and instead of making a 1 an auto hit, I just call for an extra d20. I think we've been doing it for a few days. It might be or a few weeks rather. It might be the first time that you've done it, but I've had pretty much everybody for a while now, and I think that's the best way to do it, where the attack is clearly a fail, but the actual dice is just to see if it fails in a way that it finds a weak point in armor. And I feel like you critted on that, so that's part of why I did it. So there's still an actual chance at a crit. Because if a 1 was both a fumble and an auto crit, that would be absolute bullshit. And taking away that 5% for a crit obviously has functionality, but the thing is like, even one of the hobgoblins still shot one of its friends, and like, I think I rolled a 15 with that, but I feel like you guys as players probably know hobgoblins do not have many hit points, so a single hit can kill a hobgoblin at this point. And it's one of those things that by and large, I think that's probably the best mechanic that I've found so far to represent that idea of having both critical successes and critical fails, but not making critical fails like overly vicious.
No, it makes perfect sense, and I definitely was along those lines that was what was going on, and it only slightly occurred to me, but like obviously wouldn't change it. But in the future, if a situation like that should arise, which I'm sure it's like 1 in a million, but am I able to spend a luck die on that D20 to like basically like re-roll or roll a second die for that attack to potentially not hit him?
I definitely gave you extra time, because when you use a luck point, you get to choose of the 2 dice that you have now rolled and choose which one you would like to use. So if you roll a 1 and a 2, you can choose the 2.
Okay, I got you. See, I wasn't quite sure how that worked because like the initial miss was the 1 and it was sort of like already too late for me to reroll that one. So I could have potentially rerolled the 20 though, or no? Or is the 20 sort of like an extension of the 1?
On that attack, it was those 4 where it's like the 18, the 14, 17, and the 13. The 18 was the end of like your initial attack. That was your bonus action. And then the 2 normal daggers were your like action surge. So I was saying it was too late to add a superiority dice to the 14 once you had rolled the second one. But you could have, as far as I was concerned, you could have still applied the luck to that 7, to the nat 1. And that was part of why you had said something about a luck. I let you kind of go through everything. And then as we kind of got back around to it, I asked one more time, like, did you want to use the luck? And that was purely because you had mentioned it. I wasn't trying to suggest a luck so much as you had mentioned it, and I wanted to make sure I didn't sidetrack you off of what you were trying to do. And that's part of why I asked you if you wanted to use the luck, is because that is a way for having the lucky trait. You have a really great way to avoid nat 1s.
Well, yeah, I get that part, and I get I could have re-rolled the 1. I wasn't expecting it to do that much damage to Arlyle or kill him, so I didn't think it was worth it. I honestly didn't even think it was going to hit him just because his armor class is so high. But what I'm saying is, once that all resolved, and then I rolled the 20 to actually like hit Arlisle as the extension of the 1, at that point in time, could I have used the luck on the 20? Or is that
Oh yeah,
considered
to make it a non-crit. Yeah, you could have done
exact?
that too. Yeah, my bad. I didn't understand what you were asking. But yeah, you
Okay,
can
so
essentially use a lucky at any D20 roll. But for what it's worth, if you have a luck to use, I guess I understand the idea that you have a +6, you have to roll a 13 or higher to hit Arlisle. So it's a rather safe bet to assume that you won't hit him. But at the same time, I still think, not necessarily that it's my choice, I still think mathematically and as far as combat goes, you would be better off using that luck to try to kill the guy rather than simply using the luck to deal a little bit less damage to Arlisle or miss him again.
well, I figured it was like 3 or 4 damage once I hit him, so it wasn't like a big deal or whatever. And then once I saw the crit is when I was like, oh shit, I don't want to like crit. But again, I didn't think it was going to kill him with
Well, and then
11
yeah, I
damage.
rolled
But
2 4s and there was +3, so it did max damage for a non-sharpshooter die or non-sharpshooter dagger as well.
I got you. But I just wanted to kind of know for like future reference so that I could potentially not down my friend. Although, maybe it was on purpose, just subconsciously. So welcome back.
Josh is like, of course the way that I would die is by somebody else getting crits.
Am I allowed to have some kind of like handicap on all of my rolls, like a permanent +4 or something? Because I think the rolls that the rolling average I've been getting since I started playing last year has been mathematically almost impossible.
I have to 100% say that I was surprised, given the opportunity to search for magical items. You searched for magical armor instead of a magical weapon. But magical weapons are those handicaps.
That's
But
right.
armor's prettier.
For the narcissist in you, armor is definitely prettier. Although, there's definitely some pretty sexy weapons out there as well.
Yeah, it is sort of funny that you like roll horribly to hit everyone and then everyone rolls extremely well to hit you.
Yeah, I've just gotten used to it by now.
That was like my
Yeah.
second crit ever with Doc, and it had to be like against you for the kill. At least you rolled really good on your death saves.
Yeah, I mean that's all right. If it was 2 17s and a 14, that's useful. Although by that point, I was ready for him to just fucking die.
I think
Just
your
that-
armor's magnetic.
Just
Like
kill
it
the
attracts-
hobgoblin, guys. I don't care that he's about to coup de grace me. Just kill him.
Yeah, I literally didn't give a shit by that point. But what's like if a 19 AC character with 44 HP can go to 2 death saving throws in less than 1 round, then there's always something fucking wrong.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised by how good their armor class was. It definitely caught me off guard a little bit there.
Well, that's why I said they are heavily armored. Hobgoblins are one of they're normally a hobgoblin is a half CR creature, and they are heavily armored. And that's all they are. They don't have hit points. They have heavy armor. No hit points, heavy armor.
Yeah, that captain had pretty good hit points, though. I think I did like 50 damage to him and he didn't die, so I was
Well,
like,
yeah,
damn.
the captain is not the same as when I say that. That's part of where watching how that combat boiled down, like for instance, doing your compelled duel versus a hobgoblin is a waste. Again, if you hit a hobgoblin at this point in level 5 characters, even with them increased CR, like I buffed all of those things up so they were not just like normal creatures. Even with increased CR, a normal hobgoblin is still essentially a single hit from any of you should kill a hobgoblin.
Yeah, it was just because it was a bonus action and I needed to do something, and because I thought I'm on 19 AC and 44 hit points, Doc's just taking hits, Hadar's out of range, and Vicious is off on fucking holiday somewhere. I was like, right, well, I better jump in here and pull some focus so that Doc can deal out some damage. And I was like, right, so I'll stand here and I'll at least trigger one of them to guaranteed shoot at me, and then and I'll get in between Doc and the captain, who I assumed was about to die given the amount of damage Doc was dealing out. And then instead it was like click of your fingers and it was like, right, you've just lost 33 HP. like sound, and then fucking 2 turns later, it's 11 bloody critical damage from my for someone on my own team, and I was like, all right, whatever, useless fucking character.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, I
think
rolled
Doc.
like shit. I rolled like total shit to hit them, but rolled phenomenally against you. I think maybe there's like some deep seated anger because you were gone for a week or something. But
I think you got 2 crits in that though, Doc.
yeah, I did. The first round when I got the crit was great, but I
Yeah.
just meant critting against Arlisle. But that action surge was like completely useless, and like it was that weird area where it's like not worth using a superiority die on because it's not going to help unless I get like an 8. And then on top of that, once I did use a superiority die, like and finally got the hit on him, I was like, damn it, he still didn't fucking die.
Well, I think one of the things about how that combat played out, though, is it was a recognition of sort of how crits cause massive swings. That guy was a massive tank, but if action economy doesn't turn against him, it's a shitload more danger from the actual hobgoblins than necessarily that single character. And it's also one of those things that the moment you guys signaled for them to close grounds, that fight was going to happen, and they each had like a moment to kind of react. And that's why Hadar got a little bit of extra ground by saying he would start moving forward, but Vicious choosing to stay at the caravan, that was almost nearly going to remove you from that entire combat. I knew that combat was set to swing in a direction and end quickly. So that's one of those things to kind of like keep in mind, especially when, even if all of you were involved, it's action economy is against you, insofar as they were essentially double. So realistically, you guys were even action economy wise if everybody was in the fight.
Yeah, we definitely could have used Vicious, or like maybe I could have called up forward like the guards. I don't know
And
if you
also,
have any
you know
like
what?
stats for them or anything.
In the same respect as well, Vicious, when you shoot your oh wait, no, because it's a heavy crossbow. Fucking crossbows, you need the crossbow fighter to shoot multiples. Word. So yeah. Yeah, so essentially most of the time that there's any fights going on in this caravan, it should be assumed that there is a certain amount of combat that is happening around the actual caravan itself. That draws other people into the combat. And in general, you guys have already sort of ousted yourselves as a party who is hired into this caravan more than just random people from the caravan. But by and large, there's almost always combat that is happening around you all in any of these different situations. And it's kind of the same type of thing as like those 3 guards who were with the noble were able to get kills, but it was across like a few days of fighting. They are not effective so much as they might be able to defend themselves and hold off.
Right. Well, during our after the combat or whatever, is it safe to assume that we are able to get a short rest in?
Yeah, without any problem, you all basically have a short rest along the next little bit of the kind of movement here, as everything kind of gets prepared on these wagons to get the train going. And then you all have the rest of the day to go about things. And it's kind of in general, if you all want to accomplish anything during these days, you are welcome to let me know what you would like to do. But otherwise, a lot of times we're just skipping like massive amounts of time.
What do you mean by crossbow fighter?
It's an actual feat that allows you to reload your crossbow as if it were a bow. Otherwise, loading a crossbow takes a lot more effort, so you can only fire a single shot per round of combat.
Did anybody mark off the gold that we paid the hobgoblins?
I removed it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And that as well is one of those things that like you guys can save people and attempt to get paid from them. But generally speaking, you guys cannot fail at doing something and get paid.
Yeah, I sort of was getting that that was like where you were going with that. That like we had saved their lives, but we didn't like valiantly like save them.
Yeah, like if you guys had paid off the hobgoblins and then tried to ask for payment from the noble, you would have had a better chance than basically going to combat, almost getting killed, and then trying to get them to pay. Because essentially they saw that there's almost a reason to have respect for you guys, but you guys were kind of amateurish in that you came across like victorious. They're not like impressed with your prowess in battle as they watch you almost get your friend killed.
That was a pretty stylish shot, though, that almost got him killed. They should have been impressed with that.
I have to say it's thoroughly amusing as the first moment that I give a threat against somebody's life, I'm gonna run forward and take a shot at him. I'm like, it didn't even last a moment.
It seemed like a good idea.
Yeah, it's purely me thinking, all right, I now have a downed party member at the feet of the next person in initiative who could take 2 attacks and kill this person instantly. I need a reason not to kill this person.
Just take.
All right, next time I won't run forward. Next time I'll just go forward with everybody else. But hey, I was defending the caravan against a possible attack from the rear.
Yeah, I would say as far as the narrative goes, it's more likely that Vicious was holding off some of the actual hobgoblins who would be surrounding the caravan, and as the battle ensued, started to move into a backup position around Arlisle. And but other than that, you all move into the Fields of the Dead through the rest of that little bit of the day. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of like big skirmishes, but you do have some pretty regular skirmishes as different creatures kind of rise up from the earth and sort of swarm about different areas of the caravan itself. There's points where you all fight off skeletons and zombies. There's some times where you all fight off like ghouls that are like stench clouds of death, and they seem to paralyze some of the different guards with their attacks, almost like poisoning them in the process of clawing through their armor. And a lot of different corporeal undead seem to sort of form about. As night sort of sets in, you do have other creatures that seem to at very least swarm about the party. But overall, there's plenty of cause to keep watch, but not necessarily big threats to the caravan. And this would be the first like big evening where the caravan puts a lot of effort into basically parking all of the 9 wagons. Oh wait, actually, 9 wagons around in a circle, so you're able to use the wagons themselves to protect the actual grouping, where you have the tents in the center, and then like most of the horses are basically like in the very center of this circle. So you have like the wagons, the tents, and then the horses towards the center. And the guards who are on duty at any given point in the night keep probably 8 or 10 fires kind of stoked about the surrounding area, so they're about 30 feet out from the wagons, so it gives you all about like a 60 or 80 foot range into the night where you have these campfires to give anything that would start to approach the wagons themselves would come first into this ring of light before it came towards the actual camp itself. But you all can take a long rest as you wait into this night, and I'm going to take a quick restroom break.
Have a nice time.
Arthur, we should try to get you some better armor so you don't get hit by random daggers.
Yeah, you'd have thought 19 AC would have been enough, but apparently not.
Well, I guess technically I rolled a 26 to hit and a crit auto hit, so. But still, I'm just saying, man, you don't want random daggers just taking you out.
Still think it's magnetic.
That was literally the last thing I ever expected to happen. And then I was like thinking like, damn, it's too late to use a luck point on the 1. And I was like, oh, it's probably not that big a deal anyway. It's not like it's just going to kill him in a single hit. And then, of course, I rolled the 20 to hit you with the 1. I'm like, motherfucker.
I couldn't actually remember how much damage he told me he did from the 2 hobgoblins previously, so I just guessed 14 and 19 sound about what right from what I remember. So then when you hit me for exactly 11, I was thinking to myself, God, if only I'd actually remembered exactly what you said, it might have been one less than I actually did to myself, and I would have been standing on 1 HP. But hey, there we go.
Yeah, I was like literally thinking there's no way it's going to kill you because I didn't do sharpshooter. I just did like regular attack. So I'm like, maximum damage it can do is 11. So I'm like, I'm sure he's fine. It's not like he's just going to get like critical hit killed. I'm like, plus the 1, and I still have to technically roll to hit you. I'm like, there's no way I'll kill him. It's not a big deal. I'm like, okay, never mind.
I think he actively got double critted that turn, though. Because I'm pretty sure one of the hobgoblins crit him, and then you crit him.
Yep, 2 crits and also a roll for 21.
At least he didn't do a disarming strike to you.
Yeah, Doc doesn't like to be shown up, so after the hobgoblin critted you, he was like, 2 can play at that game.
Showing him how it's done.
I'm going to stop smoking cigarettes in battle. I'm just going to assume some smoke got in his eye and he mistook who he was hitting with the dagger.
Yeah, I like the part where you were running up and took a drink from your flask.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's not going to go out like that. I mean, if there's one thing that Doc likes, it's drinking and smoking and fucking and, yeah.
That's not one.
Well, one list of things that he likes.
Simple guy.
But I also use my flask as my ability, which like heals me. So it's kind of like his little thing. Whenever I do my second wind to gain back my fighter life, I like drink out of my flask. So it's thematic, especially in battle.
I like to imagine Doc has like a little crack pipe, and he's hitting the crack pipe when he does second wind.
No, he rolls hashish into his joints and smokes them. It's not crack. Crack wasn't developed until well into, I believe it was the late 1980s or 1990s.
So if everybody is good to hop back in, the 4th day of your travels outside of Baldur's Gate will begin as everybody kind of comes to with like a soft rain coming across the tents and the camps. You see a few of the guards who are still maintaining their watch as dawn rises. They seem to be sitting back with their kind of ponchos about themselves. Most of the fires around the actual perimeter have been left on their own as dawn kind of started to peak in ways that they can still keep watch over that bit. But overall, you all can arise to a good bit of rain kind of coming down in a soft fall at this point, as you are on the outskirts of the Fields of the Dead.
Doc's going to skip breakfast and give his food to Hadar because he looks like he's struggling. Here, Hadar, you look like you could use this a little more than me. Honestly, woke up and I'm not really hungry today.
Oh man, he seems like drawing. Thank you, man. He's gonna start eating like a pig and just putting everything inside of me, like, and he's see like a happy kid.
So you can skip meals for 1 day without any actual negatives, but if you skip for 2 days in a row, you will get exhausted.
Oh, I'm not skipping all my meals. I'm just giving him my breakfast today. He's still going hungry for lunch and dinner. But no, I have a few rations too, so if I have to, I can eat a ration. I just was more doing it for thematic purposes.
Yeah, this also would be one of the things where Hadar would have to mark off a ration for the last day.
Oh wait, did Hadar really like disband from his group?
Yeah, he tried to renegotiate, and he got kicked off of the wagon. He is unemployed at this point.
Well,
Hadar, perhaps, I guess as he's eating breakfast, I will say to him, perhaps now would be a good time to try and renegotiate a little deal with our new friends. Maybe you can sort of work something out so they can take care of your supplies for the remainder of the trip. She had mentioned that they had lost quite a few guards, and they appear to be rather wealthy. So
they killed some of the hobgoblins. She didn't actually lose any of her guards.
Oh, I might have misunderstood that.
yeah, the problem, I already tried to speak with them about food, but they told me they don't have that much. Bit of a problem right now, I can say. Yeah, I didn't get before. I just thought it was a little talking and grumping, but okay.
Vicious, as you awake in the morning, your leader, Bade, would be kind of going at his horses, sort of whipping them. They seem very obstinate and not really inclined to move into the wagon to get back into their harnesses. They seem to have not enjoyed being left out in the rain this last evening, and more or less seem to be getting treated further and further in a worse state as they are abused into position.
Hey, maybe if you're a little nicer to those horses and feed them a bit more, they'll cooperate.
Oh shit, I said that all wrong. Damn. It was supposed to be the person who Hadar was hired with. So it is Neherite, not Bade. My bad. But we are sticking with it as Vicious's team.
Anyway, I'll go up. Yeah.
They might care for a little bit more food, but that doesn't mean that they deserve it. These fucking animals don't even do their job as they are. Why should they be given more food?
They'll have more energy, and they're the ones pulling the carts. It's not like you're pulling it.
And they get food for that. They should be happy with what they get. And he kind of like smacks the whip down across the one that's like just a few inches shy of where the harness would rest across its neck, so he can like attach the last few buckles and get it into place. Obstinate beasts, do your fucking job. Get into place.
I'm not convincing this person of anything. Look, sir, I understand that you have experience in these matters, but the other horses are doing better because they're being fed more and not being whipped all the time.
I'm pretty sure that bastard sold me bum horses. I think he saw me coming and thought I was somebody to scam.
Well, maybe you could try for a few days feeding them more and beating them less.
If we were to feed them more, we wouldn't be able to make it to Waterdeep. I don't really have much to spare. We'll make it there as we are, but... And he kind of like has like a little bit of like a stressed air about him as he thinks about like the journey ahead and the idea of having to use more rations. No.
I bet we can get there.
My bad, I missed that.
I bet we can get there. We'll be able to move faster if the horses are fed more.
If we keep everything rationed, we'll be able to make it. And he kind of like counts off in his head. If we have many more problems and things don't, maybe you'll be able to loan me a little bit and we can buy more provisions. And then when we actually get to Waterdeep and I start to sell everything, I can pay you back in kind.
Sure.
All right. And he kind of like calls over to one of his the teamster. Nadar, give him another 8th portion. Maybe if the horses are better fed, we'll be able to run a little bit easier.
That's wise, sir.
And hopefully if we are able to make it there without a problem, the next of the major supply shops along the way, we'll be able to purchase some more food for them. Do you have sufficient money to loan me so we can get the provisions that we might need? I'm a little short myself.
Yes.
All right, well, just don't let the others know that we are so close to not having any money for anything else that we might need. Any unforeseen tolls could ruin me. The silk has to.
Oh.
Silk is everything for me.
Tolls?
Things like those fucking hobgoblins. You guys almost seemed to dispatch them without a problem, and you still ended up having to pay our way.
True. Very true.
There's many things that can be unforeseen on this road, but with your bank and my silk, I'm confident we'll be able to make it. And he slaps you on the back, and we'll be richer for it.
True.
Get those fucking horses up. We've got to get ready to go. So with that, you all can head off. This entire day seems to be overshadowed with rain as you start to head into the fields of the dead.
I want to try to negotiate a bit again. I forgot what was his name? Of the guy I was employed for.
So you were originally with Bade. That's the person who I meant to abuse the animals with, and I fucked up and kept saying that it was vicious and tiny. But yeah, Bade Seshapol.
So I'm gonna try to approach Bait such a ball again. I'm gonna. Hey, you sure you're gonna survive the land after that without a guard?
I've already got guards. I can bring you back on our pre-negotiated contract for food and board.
What about we add one sausage a day and I'm in again? Or something like that.
I can appreciate your belly making the... Damn, I'm doing the exact same voice. I can appreciate your belly making the decisions for you, but alas, we've got a long journey ahead of ourselves, and I'm prepared for what I'm prepared for. And I would have little else to sell, and I've got to make my money along the way, while provisions are short with the others, in order to make my money. So I'm afraid we can do what we negotiated. If you need anything else, you'll have to perhaps rest on your obstinacy. Were you not prepared to walk all the way to Waterdeep?
You know, I might not look like I could work, but I can walk faster than anyone else here, I bet. But you know what? I'm happy with the meal, so I'm back in the deal. I'm gonna continue to protect you for a meal day. So we're back to the old deal. Yeah.
Let me have you roll a charisma persuasion if you have proficiency.
I do not have proficiencies. Damn.
Fine choice, my boy. I believe this will be a more wonderful trip with a little bit of a sober attitude and an understanding of what profits that we can bring to each other. And he'll pour you a glass of ale.
Yeah, for a great. I bet we will have a great journey together, and I hope we both survive till the end.
So again, you guys will head off through a largely rainy fourth day of your journey. As you enter into the fields of the day, this would be your second day kind of journeying through the fields. The first full day of it. And overall, it's just kind of an almost constant battle as things sort of rise up and start to approach the caravan. By and large, there's nothing that's a major threat to a large group such as yourselves, but you can quickly recognize why all of these merchants travel in caravans and how dangerous it was for that young noble to get left behind, as there is just a constant onslaught of creatures that seem to approach the caravan. And most of them seem to be rather typical undead creatures, but overall it has little threats to yourselves. And we will kind of progress through another day there. Things seem to be a little bit lower tension between Bade and Hadar, as he gives you a little bit more food, but you are still definitely rationed across the food that he supplies you. But he seems to be a little bit more friendly, having kind of made his point that you all have to work as a team, or at least that's the impression that you can get from it, is that he seems quite proud of himself, having basically ditched you for the last evening. And Arlau, you would still see that same little rock gnome kind of keeping an eye on you from the wagon ahead of Green Imsa's. And at some point, Imsa would kind of remark to you, that little lady there has quite an interest in you. Why she keep winking?
Not so much interested in me. She is what I have. She seems to want to buy my amulet at a ridiculously low price, which isn't going to happen, but she can keep on dreaming, I guess. It's good to have dreams.
I dream of not being green. But yeah, I think everybody's got to have their driving force behind them. Although it is really creepy just having her stare at us constantly, so maybe maybe we could, like, not have you here if she's just gonna be staring off at you, because it's kind of weird for me to. Definitely really creepy.
Yeah, it's really creepy, but I wouldn't worry about it so much. She's only looking. If she does anything more than look, then we'll deal with it. But for now, she's just looking. You're fine and you're safe with me. I promise you.
A little bit of time would progress through that area, and you all have another rather uneventful day as things progress. The little rock gnome does come back towards you at some point, Arlisle, during like a lunch break of sorts, and once again tries to offer you a gold for the amulet, seeing if perhaps the one more day has changed your mind at all. And with little fanfare kind of goes off to eat alone, and just you'll notice throughout the meal that he's just staring bullets at you. And you guys will kind of form the similar camp as you rest down for the evening, and prepare for another night's rest in the fields of the day, or fields of the dead, and have a rather uneventful night. And then as we progress forward into the 5th day of this journey, the morning will have a continued rainfall. It's definitely a little bit stronger, and as the morning kind of breaks, there seems to be a large commotion about the camp, as apparently there seems to be some sort of happening going on, while everybody seems to be starting to prepare for the day's journey.
Let me tell where it's coming
Like
from.
in our camp? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
There you go.
Yeah, like there's a commotion about the camp, like everybody seems to be kind of like yelling, and there's just a very loud din of happening seems to be rising as something is clearly happening.
Strikes up Doc's curiosity. He'll sort of mosey on over and see what's going on.
Yeah, I'll head over.
So if you approach a group who seems to be on guard about the north area of the camp, they kind of like holler out to you as you start to get close. We're surrounded by something. Prepare yourselves.
Did you get an eye on what it is?
Just quick flashes as they run about us. Whatever it is, it's sometimes to the north here, sometimes to the south. It's been all about the camp. Never get much more than a glance. I think we're already surrounded.
Understood. There's no need to get ready when you stay ready. And with that, Doc will sort of like let Vicious and Hadar know as well. I'm assuming Arlisle's already noticed this.
And I pop Divine Sense.
You would get little flashes of undead about you, but it is just outside and just like flashing inside of that sort of radius. And how long? Yeah, it's just for 6 seconds. So yeah, it would just be like a quick few flashes of the sense about you.
I'm going to say to Doc, I've got multiple undead targets 60 feet plus out from us, moving around constantly, and one guy who can't be trusted with daggers.
Understood. I noticed there's a strange gnome that seems to be bearing down on you as well. Any undead sense from that one, or?
I don't think I did I?
Yeah, everything that you would sense undead is from outside of this general area.
Oh, my bad. I was just joking.
Yeah, she's shifty as fuck though. I'm definitely going to end up stabbing her by the end of this journey. I can just shout to the other two and say, guys, we need to get ready. We've got things surrounding us here.
Are there particular weak points of undead? Does anybody know?
I tend to aim for the face.
A lot of holy folk are able to do a lot to them. And you like Green Imsa kind of like pats the back of Arlyle.
Yes, the undead is somewhat of a specialty for myself. Holy damage, that is.
Damn, I only have some radiant damage.
Same thing.
Oh, Radiant can do a lot to avoid the things that they're less susceptible to. So at least it's a start.
Well, good to know, guys. Good to know.
Doc's going to kind of let the rest of his party know. Be on your lookout. Appears that we're surrounded. Prepare to defend yourselves.
We're being surrounded. Perhaps the best thing that we can do is hold here and keep them at bay of the caravan itself. We can use the carts for our defenses. I don't know what else we could do at this point.
Well, I'm not sure, but they might surround us just for several days unless I've starved to death if we stay here. I mean, they are undead anyway. They don't care about time. Are they that smart? Does anyone know of you guys?
Depends what they were when they were alive. They didn't really know one thing, and that's creating more death in their way.
Yeah, we should. I mean, probably for the beginning, it would be a good idea to stay here and try to protect ourselves and defend. But if they are not attacking us, we have to do something at some point, because if not, we will waste our rations.
Yeah, I think we should stay with the caravan and surround it. We don't know what direction they're coming from yet.
Yeah.
So most of the fires around the circle of the wagons have now been put out. And though the sun is starting to rise, it's probably still a ways off. And there's still little light about things, but they seem to be slowly putting out the fires as time kind of progresses about this little circle.
I think we should prepare to keep moving if necessary, but be on our guard if they should attempt to strike.
I'd agree. It would be foolish to go after them and move away from the caravan that was supposed to be protected.
You think we should break the circle and start to load up the caravan?
Might as well
No,
keep moving.
I think we should stay stationary and wait and see what happens. We don't want to be moving anywhere. It's daylight soon anyway. We can't do much when the sun's up.
Have we sort of gotten any more like inclinations as to what it is, or if they appear like they're getting ready to attack us or anything?
I think you would have the inclination that they are putting out the fires to prepare for something. At very least, they are inclined to remove the fires from your perimeter. But other than that, there seems to be an intelligence about that choice. But they're not really anything that's kind of happening about your perimeter is far enough away that it seems to be happening quick enough that you're not really seeing much more than humanoid undead creatures. But it doesn't really give you...
The undead are putting out our fires?
Yeah, like the things that Arlyle would have sensed are what is putting out the fires about your perimeter.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood that. I thought you meant like our caravan was like putting out their fires. I got you.
Guys, I probably have an idea. What about we bait them with a fire, and we set up a trap and catch and look what it is.
Proc daylight then. So 60 feet of light and then an additional 60 feet of dim light around.
Just over yourself?
Yep, just above me. I'm by Doc, aren't I? Sort of central to the caravan. It should help. They can put out as many fires as they want now. We'll still be able to see them.
So they still seem to... God damn, why won't it fucking load? They still seem to be about the perimeter, and it's probably inside of that general, like, 30 feet in front of you of the daylight. So you're, like, shining actual light into these different, like, peripheral fire areas. It's not giving you a whole lot better of a view of these things, but it is giving you more of a sense of, like, the flashes of these creatures kind of popping into and out of the brush. Seems to be a little bit clearer as there's like an extra source of light that's kind of like shining off of your skin. But inside of the actual perimeter of the wagons, it's not giving you a whole lot more information.
And how close are we to like the sun coming up, like actual daylight?
You're like on the cusp of it happening, like any time now is kind of what you would expect.
Seems like strange timing. These creatures do not appear to enjoy the light, and yet it is on the cusp. I think we should prepare for their strike or prepare to get moving once the sun comes out.
Yeah, that's why I think we should hold our position here. We can defend if we're stationary and we've surrounded the caravan, and then the fight needs to go on as long as it takes for the sun to come up. As soon as it does, we can get out of here.
Yes, I must agree, friend.
What about you, Vicious? What do you?
I can go either way.
I think we should probably first look and defend. I mean, they have to attack us for us to defend. And we should probably head out at daylight. I think it's probably a good idea because we can. But the thing is, we also get more intel about what it is when we get daylight, or they attacked us until then. So, I mean, we can change our plan according to what happens.
Can we tell how many there are?
No, you cannot. You all have also been in rain for the last like day plus, and it is currently raining as well. So while the light is rising, you don't necessarily have any reason to expect daylight, or rather sunlight.
Fire is the brush that surrounds us ongoing for a while, or is it only in this area?
To what end?
As in, if we guide the caravan forwards, will they leave the brush area into an open area, which means that whatever's surrounding us has to follow us out into the open?
Most of this place has seemed to be like sort of desert. Different levels of nothing seems to really grow in the area. So there would be a certain level of, if you are able to head out, once you get out of this general area, you would be in rather open plains.
Maybe we should keep walking the caravan slowly forwards then, and we keep an eye out. I'll proc divine sense every now and again to see where they are and see if we can get clear of where they're hiding.
Yes, it might not be a bad idea. I'm not sure that losing a day to a threat that may not even come is necessarily the best idea.
Yeah, we should. We can move on. I mean, worst could come if we get attacked.
So then the general idea would be to start to prepare the caravan and the horses to head out and try to get away from these things and into an open field?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best idea. That way, one, they're either provoked to attack us because we're moving, or two, we sort of get away from the threat.
So let me have, let's see. Let me have Arlisle roll a d8. So as you all prepare yourselves, these things snuff out the last of the fires about you. It seems to be a pretty quick process as everybody kind of gets in line and they start to prepare themselves, taking down camp as quick as possible, and almost everybody takes the moment to break the ring of wagons at the same time to start to get their horses all lashed up and inside of their barding, and everybody kind of breaks camp in a quick succession as everything seems to go pretty smoothly. You all are able to make it into the field at large as you kind of progress through this storm overhead and seem to avoid these things. Whatever it is that's like more intelligent about these creatures does not seem to follow you through the day, but you do continue to have the same issue of sort of meandering skeletons, zombies, and ghouls throughout the day that kind of provoke against the caravan itself, and these little bouts of fighting and defending the caravan from those little, they're not even really skirmishes, it's almost just these things seem to be somewhat attached to the road for whatever reason it is, but you... Ew, I don't know what did that. Did you guys just get beeped by me? Oh, word. It did like a really loud beep into my earphones, so I'm not sure if I like pressed something or what, but So yeah, you're able to break camp. Everybody's able to get away with the caravan pretty uneventfully and start to head on into another day of rain across the events of the day. And you all have another rather eventful day when, again, you will kind of have everything pass by and make camp on the 5th day. Yeah, that's why, like, there's gonna be, like, little happenings each, like, random day, but there's not necessarily going to be things every day, let alone multiple times a day. Well, the problem is with this section that I was trying to explain before is that you have to find a balance between giving information that you guys need to get while you are in this caravan and not wanting to spend time in the caravan. So I feel like, in part, perhaps we have lost the investigator in Apcon. Tynus was trying to spend too much time clearly putting himself out there like he was an investigative reporter and attracting way too much attention trying to ask questions to the caravan. And the 4 of you so far have not really spent any time trying to question anybody in the caravan. But there's got to be a balance of there is information that you all need to gather, or perhaps you will just arrive at the end and have less information as to what you are doing. But there's like a balance of how things have to play off, because this section has a lot for you to learn about what you are getting towards, but not necessarily to like narrate it to you all, where it's like a 4-hour session of me just telling you what you're having happen. But I mean, I can at least rush the fact that one of these nights, it can, for all it's worth, that amulet is going to come up missing. That's the entire reason that I have been, like, most of this at this point has been leading to the fact that somebody is eyeing your shit, and eventually that amulet will go missing. So for whatever it is worth, like, we can fast forward to that having already happened here. But that's just one of the aspects of this journey, is shit has to go down, because you all have to be both more covert about the fact that you are a group, and also understanding of the fact that there is shit to learn about this general process of how the caravans work, both with normal people who are on it, and the fact that the 4 of you know that the Cult of the Dragon is somewhere inside of these caravans, if not this caravan, the caravans that head along this road. So there's different levels of you will overtake and have other parts of wagons joining into your caravan. There's a lot of things that will happen that are not simply merchants heading through the Sword Coast. You all would have seen the crates that they were transferring, but otherwise it seems to be a pretty situation where it's one person who seems to be a merchant of sorts, like a wealthy person who has a wagon, and 3 guards. That seems pretty typical of most of the at least more prepared of these merchants. Like, the more successful of the merchants seem to be pretty similar situations. The person who would have asked Vicious for a loan probably seems to be a little bit less finely clad, and has, I think, probably 3 guards, but 2 of them are Tynus and Vicious, who are hired for a copper a day. So there's definitely different levels of, they fit the bill of most of these merchants who seem to be traveling. You all are now with a group of 9 wagons. One of them, one of the nobles or merchants, owns 2 of the wagons, and they probably are the finest, like, looking as far as their outwardly appearance, but there's different levels of how everybody kind of fits, but more or less I would say that they fit the outward view, and it would be up to you all whether you think that there's more suspicious or less suspicious things about them. I think you are employed by Bade. No, I had to switch that because I went too deep in that. It was Neherite is the one who has hired Vicious and Tynus. He is the one who is broke and has basically been mistreating his animals, though upon the agreement of Vicious to front him money, he's basically started to feed them a little bit more food to try to make it there. But Bade Seshapul is the one who you are working for, Hadar. He is an ale, beer, and somewhat provisions merchant. It's a pretty regular journey for me, young man. I pretty much spend most of my time going north and south with the different merchants, making a little bit of bill on those who don't plan too well about themselves. Well, you see, this area is called the Fields of the Dead, and I believe that should be self-explanatory why we find ourselves surrounded by the dead. But sadly, it's one of the things that we have to get through, and well, I think we're probably maybe about the halfway mark, depending on how things go these next days or so. Though this blasted rain won't be helping at all, but with any luck, I believe we'll be able to get through here. I don't much pay attention to the others but for their coin, so it's hard to tell. There's a pretty big world out there, young man, and you'll find, well, there's usually more merchants than you'll ever remember. It must be nice to be so simple that food is your only thought. Now, sadly, if you're so simple, the real problem is you'll never be able to go into one of the easiest industries to break into and make a lot of money on. Because there's one thing that I know. People always need to eat, and they always need to drink. And you, my friend, should not get into the business, because you should never dip into your own pot. It's hard to make a profit. We'll go places, though. As long as I ration your food, you might even lose some weight and be a much finer person for it. You may have to start running instead of rolling, though. That's an interesting trick, even if it does take a lot of food to keep up the body for. I think, actually, I can almost get my arms halfway around you, so I'm pretty sure that you've already lost a good bit of weight in just these 5 days. You should be proud of yourself. So, as you all get underway and the wagons start to head out, and things kind of progress in a similar fashion, Arlyle, at some point during the day, you see the same rock gnome just kind of staring back at you in a very similar fashion, and eventually Green Imsa kind of leans over to you, and she's really, really creepy. I don't think I've seen her take her eyes. And Green Imsa looks behind you all. Well, I guess off of us, but it's really hard to tell, because I feel like she's always been looking at us. It's really off-putting. It's just a little rock gnome. I mean, you can certainly cast something on her, but overall, she hasn't changed at all in this last day or so, but it's been a pretty similar feeling of this entire journey so far since she spotted your amulet. It's been that same fashion of it's just been consuming her. When you start to look for it, it's gone. Well, that's what I said I can fast forward to. At some point during this journey, that amulet was going to disappear. So you can probably rest assured that at some point during your sleep, somebody made their way into your tent and basically removed it from your person. So you would see the rock gnome still seems to be paying attention to you, still staring down you and Green Imsa, and eventually you all would take the first break of the day to rest the horses. Would you like to approach her, or what would you care to do? I think after that first day of kind of mimicking where you would put it, across your chest, that was kind of what she would do, where she was gesturing when you hid it inside of your tunic. She would kind of mirror that. I think after that first day, you wouldn't necessarily be fumbling about it after you kind of put it into your tunic, and I don't think she would do any more. It would just be at this point that she occasionally has come up to you and asked you if you still wanted to sell it, and even at this point, she's kept an eye on you as she sits off on her own, eating her bit of lunch while everybody takes a break for the horses. And perhaps if you don't approach her, she might approach you again, but at present, nothing seems to have been changed or different about how she is acting. Excellent, 1 gold? I don't have that much money. But if you'll sell it for a gold, that would be great. I would love to buy it for a gold. She's like already pulling out a gold coin from her purse, and as she kind of is like fumbling about her person, she doesn't really seem to have any other money. This might be all that she has. Oh no, where could you have lost it? Is it back on the road? And she kind of like stares down the road where the caravan has just come from. I am not a thief. I wanted to buy it from you fair and square. Well, I was hoping to convince you to gamble with it so I could get it from you for less, but oh, I wouldn't. Please do not kill me. I wonder how dangerous that would be. I'm just trying to get to a better life in Waterdeep. I just kind of figured that things would be better, and I don't know. And she like again kind of stares off to the south, like down the road where you all have come by. This wouldn't be the first time that you would notice that this is somebody who's always looking behind them. Well, I think we all have our own past that we're getting away from, and I'm just leaving a long road behind, and I was hoping that this would be a better place, and as I understand, soon is one of those people who can bring more joy to your life. So that's part of why I really wanted that amulet from you, is I thought it might help me change my life around. Well, it's not really much of a secret. I just had to leave everything behind. I'm kind of running away from home. Kind of running away from a lot more, but well, so I understand Waterdeep is a pretty fantastic city. They call it the City of Wonders, and I just thought that there would be so much more for me there, somewhere to actually grow into something instead of, well, I'm kind of from the middle of nowhere. Nothing but bad things have ever come about. I didn't really see much good to staying in the same place and never really having anything good. I'm not a goblin! I don't even look like a goblin. I'm just a gnome. We're much better people than goblins. I think that's just terrible of you to think. Yeah. I feel like overall gnomes look like non-green-skinned goblins, so it's not unfair to think. And I think most of that is because of kind of the random shit of how the Tolkien estate kind of boiled down. But yeah, I think that's perfectly fitting for how this character's life would go, is people kind of compare them to goblins at times. I don't know how I can help you find the amulet, but I would be glad to, and I really, really do want to actually buy it from you. I would never steal from, well, I wouldn't steal from somebody with a sword. Do you think it'll be suspicious if I start to, like, be around people? I've spent so much, like, just off on my own. I wonder if people would, maybe if we could start, like, a bit of cards or play some dice, we could get everybody together and maybe we could get people talking if they let their guard down. I'm really good at gambling. I can do that. She kind of like nudges you with her elbow, and she says, "Gnomes are Gnomes are clever. Goblins are conniving. That's how you can remember that I'm a gnome." She kind of like shakes her head, and about that time is when the caravan starts to prepare to head back off. Anybody else doing anything on like the first break of the caravan? Otherwise, hop back into moving north. 6 years, your father started. You all now know that there is a thief in the caravan. You are still vaguely halfway through the Fields of the Dead, and starting to see the first signs of the Mountains of the Troll Claws rising before you as you head generally north, but like in a northeasterly direction. I was just saying, you all are like roughly halfway through the Fields of the Dead. I feel like you would have gotten that from your wagon master, Bade. And you're starting to see the first signs of the Troll Claw Mountains rising ahead of you all as you head north-northeast through the coastway, through the Fields of the Dead. It is still raining. You now know that there is a thief inside of the caravan. How else would you like to kind of approach through the day? Yeah, now I see all those other possessions. I didn't realize that they were below the attunement in that list. Yeah, so if you guys kind of finish off the general day, when you get the caravan together and start to get everybody set back up in that same little ring, preparing for a night's rest, you can start to gather everybody about, trying to invite people to a bit of gambling fun if you would like. The little gnome kind of still sits off on her own. She still kind of looks off at you here and there. She's been a little bit more not necessarily different so much as she's not smiling as much. She's still kind of staring off behind the wagon that she's riding on, and it is generally still in your direction, but you can tell, having heard that the amulet's missing, this person seems at very least to your impression to be trying to not seem suspicious, but is still staring off back behind her wagon. And she is otherwise acting relatively normal for how you have perceived this person, who is with a group of 40 people, doesn't really seem to talk to anybody, and doesn't really seem to eat with any of the other 40 people. Yeah, if you start to prepare everything and kind of signal to her, you have noticed that about the only time that this person has been quick to speak and kind of open with things is when she was talking about gambling. It was how you kind of first met her, with the idea of, let me buy your amulet. Now, how about if we gamble for it? So, are you going to try to organize something to get some gambling together, to try to get people together? So she would be one of the quicker folk to kind of come over, and she kind of pulls out the single coin that she has in her purse, and she kind of nudges you. Maybe we can start small, 'cause I kind of need to protect this. There might be, if we're able to, and she winks at you, I'll still need a gold to buy, well, she kind of shivers under the magical inclination. You would notice from a good bit of the caravan seems to be more or less busy about themselves. There seems to be a few different wagons that nobody comes from, but there's, generally speaking, more of the teamsters, more of the drivers seem to be inclined to gamble through the night. Many of the guards seem to be on duty where they can't, and you see a few who kind of pass their vision over almost wantingly at the thought of gambling. But you kind of get you get 6 different people from a few of the wagons to come over, but you do notice that a few of the wagons, nobody comes at all. I don't necessarily think there's a big reason to run out an actual gambling situation here. Let me have you roll a performance and a persuasion. Dude, the two of you rolled almost exactly the same. I rolled a 5 and an 18. So I think yours was a 3 and a 17. In general, most of the people kind of come over, enjoy a bit of gambling, and after a little bit, people start to look over between Arlisle and the Rock Gnome. They seem to gather that the two of you are up to something, and can't quite figure out what your game is, because everything seems up and up about how the gambling itself is going down. You do start to see some level of the teamsters who have come over seem to think less of some of the teamsters from the groups that haven't come over. And across this little bit of gambling, you do kind of quickly start to gather that there's definitely a rift and a difference in this caravan, that there are kind of two different groups of people here. And as these teamsters kind of go over some of their thoughts, and how it's not like they're disgusted in the other people, but that they feel that there's this like air of superiority about the other 3 wagons that they kind of point out. There seems to be something else about these people, and I would say for what it is as the adventures on an investigation, you can start to gather that this is one of the first signs for you all that these teamsters are pointing out people who they see as different, and it's probably a really good clue for you that these are the people who are normal merchants, and the other ones are probably the merchant-like people who are Cult of the Dragons. So you don't see any explicit signs of this or that, but that would probably be the first kind of inclination where there's a general rift in the situation. These people are acting differently, and the teamsters and different like guards who are off duty who have actually come by to enjoy a bit of gambling, that's kind of like where their talk kind of sits as their mouths get a little bit looser through this evening of gambling. But overall, you all seem to kind of pass money back and forth. Nobody seems to be taking anybody, taking their purses. But in general, that's kind of like the talk at the table, is sort of how off-put some of these other members of the caravan are, and how it like frustrates some of these other people that they act different and pretend that they're better than them when they're all like working the same job. They're all, essentially trafficking things from their hometown into a big city where it's worth more money. At present, I think you all would kind of gather that like your groups seem to be pretty legit as far as things go. That very quickly you kind of recognize that the people who have hired the 4 of you are all among those who, some of the guards have come here to gamble, some of the teamsters have come here to gamble, and it's probably the first time that you would kind of recognize that these other teams that they kind of point out, you kind of now would notice as well, like, they seem to be the people who kind of rest a little bit more on other people, and you would notice a little bit of they haven't really been lending a hand this whole time. They haven't really been like joining into the groups and kind of have been keeping to themselves. So like those little bits kind of do stick out, that those groups have already kind of been somewhat treating themselves in isolated ways, but at present it's not really anything that's specifically like distinguished. They're not anybody who sticks out in particular at present. Yeah, for what it's worth, at present you all have somewhat classified your group of employers seems to not fall into the same group of who the different teamsters are kind of accusing of being pompous and looking down on everybody else. I was thinking about Josh's question, and then I lost it trying to answer that, trying to give myself more time to think. You were asking if he would give up more information about, and I forgot what it was. Alright, so I think overall you've probably gotten enough of the actual people into this little gambling session. It's about like a third or a fifth of the actual general caravan has kind of joined into this little session. So you've got a pretty nice little party of people who are sitting back, generally gambling near Bade's cart. If not near Bade's cart, he has now moved the cart closer so he can sell ale to people, and the ale is running well. And in general, you pick up different little signs without being too explicit in how you're asking about this, but each person can kind of spot where one or two of the carts have come from this direction or from that direction, but in particular, you are all heading in the same general direction. That Baldur's Gate is a large choke point. In anything that's basically south of Baldur's Gate will come through Baldur's Gate from one of the general like south or southeast. So in general, like, different people can spot different information about where, like, this cart came from, this merchant came from that area, and I saw him that day. I don't really know much about this one, so you kind of, like, spot little bits of this and that, but again, kind of there's a throwback to Hadar's question from the day before. There's a lot of people who run this path on a regular basis. So it's not the type of thing that you can track down every single cart, and most people, if they weren't intoxicated, would kind of think of it as a silly question to say, like, do you know this merchant? Like, no, of course not. There's thousands of people across the Sword Coast who their entire life is going up and down these roads, and you'll probably never meet the same merchant twice. Well, you already knew from the way everything left the dragon hatchery through that raiders camp, that they spread out into all directions from that camp. So the fact that these wagons are coming in from many different directions doesn't really give you any more information. Just that everybody along this path that you're on is already coming from the south. So it kind of confirms a little bit of information. But yeah, there's not necessarily a lot of information to gather from a group of people who are just sitting around, like, basically enjoying themselves gambling. And that persuasion was basically like how much you and... damn, I already forgot her name again. And the rock gnome were able to kind of, like, turn the conversation at times to little things that might, like, put somebody off to almost, like, implicate themselves as a thief. Yeah, you've somewhat isolated, like, around half of the wagons from those who are likely to be Cult of the Dragon and those who are less likely to be Cult of the Dragon. But there does seem to be some sort of a rift between this group that seems to be those who aren't necessarily, like, joining into the group activities of where things kind of sit. And this is kind of the first time that somebody else has pointed this out, that there seems to be like 3 wagons basically that kind of stick out as these people just seem to be a little bit more other. 100%, that is, it's definitely like high school, junior high level of, like, the in crowd and the, like, others. Is there anything else in particular that you want to try to, like, incline people to while you have this kind of little gambling ring going about? And that includes anybody else who might be around while Jape is orchestrating this with the rock gnome. You all can kind of chime in your own ways how you might want to turn the questioning in one direction or another. As you kind of, like, twist the conversation towards the night before, and basically kind of, like, not necessarily saying, like, did anybody see a thief going about the camp, but just kind of inclining the question of, did anybody see anything kind of shady kind of happening about the camp? You do hear a couple of the teamsters start to bring up that at different times they kind of awoke to take care of the horses, because their horses seem to be spooked at different times in the evening, and it seemed to be almost at like 3 or 4 different times of the night there seemed to be something going on. They thought that it was just some of the same bullshit that was kind of happening that next morning. They didn't really think anything of it that next day when they awoke, and they thought less of it when they were actually tired trying to get a night's sleep. But overall, you kind of have like 4 of the different part of this party who all kind of chime in as at some point in the evening they woke up to the like whinnying of their horses, or different like rustling about of the tents, and a few of them you would notice stayed in your general area, and none of them really saw anything in particular. They all got up and kind of took care of their horses. They all saw what seemed to be kind of people almost passing around here and there. Nothing that really struck them as out of the ordinary. And without basically trying to accuse anybody or bringing up that there was a theft, nobody really knows to say whether they thought there was a thief, or whether they thought they saw a guard moving about, or whether they thought that they saw undead. Well, it's not useless, but it confirms that somebody was about the area for 3 different times of the night. It's just one of those things that the more vague that you want to be, they're going to answer you in more general thoughts. And that's what I mean, like, where some of them, like, when they're getting looser with their tongue, they, like, assume that, like, oh, yeah, with the undead that next day, somebody was coming through the camp, and it seems like one of those ghouls had gotten inside of the camp, and he spooked my horses. But, like, to you, you can kind of notice, like, on a side, this person was sleeping next to my tent, so perhaps their horses got spooked as the thief was coming into my tent. But more or less, like, one of the things that I want to throw out there is, if somebody just stole an amulet from you, you're welcome to think that it's the person who is the clear object, and they would probably stay close to you. Or the other option that is a probably really good way to expect somebody to act is that they would stay the fuck away from you. So those are the 2 different traits that are probably implicating somebody of being suspicious, is both the rock gnome, still on some level would be suspicious because they were acting suspicious beforehand, or people who would just not come near you because they already stole something from you. Are the only other 2 people who were gambling during all of this are Vicious and Doc? Is anybody else gambling at the table? Did you say you were not gambling at all with Arlo? So let me have Vicious and Doc roll a d20 for me. And 3d4. Alright, so you each make, respectively, 10 silver and 12 silver. And that will be the take for you all across this little evening of gambling. Yeah, that's quite literally, what, 12 times what you agreed to do this trip for? Probably about 4 times what you agreed to do this trip for. At the end of the evening, the little rock gnome would hand you back 4 silver, Arlyle. And she kind of like smirks to you like, oh, that worked out really well. I made 12 silver through all of that. And she like kind of like holds out her little gold piece. And I didn't even have to gamble with my own money. Thank you so much. And she would kind of like hug you before kind of like going off on her own again to basically weather the evening. See, what you need to do is you need to get 7 people in your downline, and then if each of them gets 7 people in their downline, after 12 tiers, you've got everybody in the earth in your downline. You can do this. What is it? Sword Connect! So you all have a pretty similar evening, where it's kind of like a constant guard about the camp. Nothing seems to really happen through this evening, and the next morning there's almost the exact same kind of situation where roughly around morning time the guards start to yell to get everybody to attention, as once again the camp seems to be surrounded, and different fires about the camp are starting to get snuffed out through the night. It's the same type of situation where something, and again, it's more intelligent than the undead that you all basically fight throughout the day, but something is basically strategically putting out the fires around the camp, not really showing itself, but rushing through and in quick little succession doing not necessarily damage, but doing damage to the integrity of the fire such that the fires burn out. Just like the day before, like, they don't really act any different. They just don't seem to really partake in any other groups. And it's not like it's like a whole other group that hangs out together. It's like those carts just seem to keep to themselves. They're acting like everybody else. On that regard, they seem like any other merchant on the coastway at this point. There's a certain level of fear about most people who are veterans of this path. There's a certain amount of fear from people who are clearly like green and have only done this like this is their first path up north along the coastway. But this is something that's not surprising to anybody who has been into the fields of the dead in the past. Green Imsa is among the people who is definitely green, in that she's never been on the coastway, as well as the fact that, yes, her flesh is entirely green. Yeah, I'm curious what you were getting at, because I was just going to respond to the dad joke for a moment there. Well, I don't believe she's been opened up yet, but she seems green. She would kind of like laugh like a dad joke at Arlyle, kind of mentioning that she's like among those who are green on this journey, but you can definitely tell that she's certainly freaked out by this occasion twice in a day here. It's the same type of thing. You all are just around the brink of it. This is the third day in a row that it has been a near like constant rain. But yeah, you kind of expect at any given point here that it's essentially daytime. It's more or less the same situation where you all are somewhat in like a more defensible position where you make camp with the caravan. But essentially getting back on the road would be where you're in a more open field. Anytime you ping it, it would kind of just come up in the peripherals again. Let me have Vicious roll a d8 for me. As everybody kind of goes about the same thing, you kind of pass the word around the caravan that you're going to try to mount up, break the perimeter, and get everybody to head onto the road in a quick train. And it seems like everything's going well. And shortly after the circle is broken, with all of the horses mounted up, there's a attack of the first line of these creatures. Seem to be some more of the ghouls, but there seems to be some other sort of creature that is less corporeal that kind of flanks in at the same time. You all can place yourselves on this little map here, and then we can figure out where everything will be coming from. Yeah, so, I mean, this clearly we're like outside of the actual occasion for this to happen, but this is the general idea of where you guys would have circled yourselves with the wagons to create a perimeter, and most of those fires on the actual perimeter have now been put out. But this is basically the general idea of, as you prepare each wagon to head out in that last little moment, this is where you would be. You would be inside of the wagons, though. 8 cardinal directions, and I managed to get them all basically in the same position. Alright, so in the first few moments as the wagons prepare to break out of the brush to the generally north area of this zone, you'll see the first wave of creatures rush into you. Arlyle, you will have a ghoul, a stinky flesh undead creature of sorts charge into you, and it will go to you to act. No, at this point, they've just charged basically into you. Both will hit. The second attack with your longsword will almost cut through its like shoulder blade and almost separate an entire side of its body from it. It looks extremely wounded, but it seems to be holding on for the thought of eating your flesh. Hadar, one of the creatures, charges into you as well, and it will go to you. Looks like an undead bag of flesh. Alright, you should have extra attack, so if you'd like, you have another quarterstaff attack. Roll a d20 for me. So you, like, punch into one of the wheels of the wagon, and it almost, like, resonates with the punch, but it doesn't seem to damage it. You all hear a absolutely horrendous scream from the southeast as a creature kind of floats through one of the wagons and approaching one of the teamsters seems to be shriveling this creature as it sucks the life out of the human, and they just scream as their body seems to be drying out in a instant, as they seem to age almost 20 years and kind of fall like a cripple to the ground. And it will go to Vicious. You also have just been charged by a ghoul. That is correct. As with any time with a melee character, you really only have to make your choices one at a time for the possibility that you can attack two different things, but for what it's worth, you can definitely still roll both right now. But in general, just start with one. Yep. So the second will hit. I feel like you rolled 2 damages right there, but 13 damages. Oh, wait, 15 because of rage. You can definitely do drool damage. It'll just force you to roleplay it as much as you hate it. And if you roleplay into the drool, it will definitely stick as drool damage. It seems absolutely wrecked. It seems to be holding on with the last bits of its life. Another ghoul is going to charge into Vicious. I think another one is about to charge into Hadar. And then it will go to Doc. It is going to crit 11. Yeah, anything only ever has a single reaction, so it only ever has one attack of opportunity. That's overall also a lesson. If you've got multi-attack, if you hold your reaction for something, you still only have one reaction, so you can only ever take one attack with a reaction. 18 will hit. 21 will hit, and that will kill that one. You see as the knife sinks into what should be flesh, it almost cuts through its robes and seems to melt in the process of entering this thing's body. But it clearly isn't a body, and it clearly doesn't take damage in the same way, and as the knife almost passes through the other side of it, it falls to the ground in a dust as it disintegrates. That dagger is gone. That's everything from you though, right? That was 2 attacks and a bonus? Yeah, my point in that is when it would cut through its robe, it almost sunk into the thing's body, and being inside of the thing's body actually damaged your knife. But I think you all also, if you would have looked back as it was attacking that wagoneer, you would see that the creature was inside of the wagon. So yes, it is incorporeal. The ghoul is going to claw out at Arlyle. A 2 is going to miss. 16 will hit, and it will dismember the ghoul as it drops to the ground. Not quite dead, but it's in pieces. 3 different pieces. You already took 2 attacks. I don't think you have any other attacks. And it'll go to Hadar. If you make Radiant Sunbolt attacks while you are in combat, they are a ranged spell attack, so it is at disadvantage. Well, yeah, I'm saying this so it's a learning experience. When you make a ranged attack and you are in combat, this is why Doc steps out of combat and procs an attack. It's to avoid being at disadvantage. I understand that an 11 is worse than a 26. Regardless, it's the same. But my point is that making that attack while you are in combat is always going to be at disadvantage. An 11 does miss. 12. Are you attacking the wounded one or the one that looks dead and healthy? 12 hit points is what it had left. It will fall to the ground. Creature inside of the wagons finishes killing this person. You see as another creature almost rises from the body. And then it is going to hover over into Arlyle, and it is going to go to Vicious. Would you like to attack the healthy one, the fucked up one? How would you like to play? 15 hits. 12 damage will kill it. 21 hits for 14 damage. Leaves it pretty fucked up in a similar way. It's still got a good bit of ligaments and things attaching itself to itself, but Were this thing something that had blood flowing through its veins, it would be bloodied. It is going to claw at you. I think a 12 misses. And then one is going to claw at Hadar for an 8 misses. And we'll go to Doc. 15 hits. It's holding on with a little bit of life. 13 hits. Won't be a dagger this time, Arlau. It's going to be a bow. 21 hits. 17 hits. Both of those arrows will disintegrate in the same way. So you can delete those 2 from your quiver. And it will do 38 damage. God damn, I can't hit with a fucking ghoul. 8 to hit Hadar, and it will go to Arla. So is that a level 2 spell that you burned? What level spell slot did you mark off? You have to pick you can only burn 1 spell slot with Divine Smite, so you can't do 3 level 1s. But you can do a level 1, a level 2, if you have higher, you can do a single spell slot of your choice. But rolling 4d8 is a level 2. Well, no, that already has it. It's normally 2d8 plus 1d8 plus the extra d8. Mark off -1 damage for that longsword as it disintegrates a little bit inside of the Wraith's form. And then you notice that the radiant damage is far more effective than anything else any of you have thrown at this creature yet. It is indeed still alive. Well, it's not -1 to hit, it's like -1 to the actual damage, but a 9 will miss. The Teamster's spirit is going to float up to Doc and reach out with its open palm, and damn it, an 8 to hit will miss. 17 should hit. We'll do 6 slashing damage, and I need you to make a DC 10 Constitution saving throw. Excellent, that will fail. You can stay right next to the ghoul as you are paralyzed. You have an actual button for a saving throw, but yes, you have to roll a d20. You can click the Constitution saving throw. Excellent. You still fail it, and you are still paralyzed. So as Hadar tries to step away from the ghoul, it strikes out at him as he drops his guard to step away, and Hadar seems to freeze into place and just kind of goes stiff. I think I told you 7 damage? Shouldn't be any different. There's nothing locked or anything. Everybody would hear pretty horrendous screams as a few different people from the caravan almost seem to fall over dead as they scream into this northeast as this dark black figure cloaked in darkness just seems to slowly move and just purposefully make its way into the caravan as there's just a din of noise and then utter silence. And it's going to go to the Wraith. It is indeed, I believe, 4? Yep, 4 different things. Actually 5, because the Banshee hasn't even gotten a chance to move yet. The Wraith is going to reach out at Arlisle. 21 to hit. 6. It is going to do 19 damage to you. And please make a DC 14 Constitution saving throw. Necrotic, so it actually does 9 damage to you. DC 14 Constitution. Reduce your maximum hit points by 9 until you take a long rest, as it sucks the life out of your flesh. You cut out too soon. You've got to hold the mic a little bit longer. 9 damage. It did 9 to you, and if you fail that Constitution, it reduces your max by that. You will see as another incorporeal creature heads up into the southwestern area of the caravans, and just seems to turn into a bright light of like a white glow encompasses this creature, and it sort of attracts attention to it. It seems to be a beautiful woman, and then in a moment it just screeches out with this horrific sound as its face just seems to rot in an instant, and a few of the guards in that area will crumble to the ground as I need Arlisle and Doc to make a DC 13 Wisdom saving throw or be frightened. You both are good, and it will go to Vicious. The 15 will hit and 13 will kill it. Yeah, I think for what it's worth, Doc is the one who kind of walked through a building, so we'll just have it kind of be that those are like soft exteriors, but that side is definitely like open with the stores and where people had basically prepared to sleep. I don't see any reason that you wouldn't be able to throw a javelin with your second attack. You would basically use like a free action to stow your maul as you throw a javelin. 24 will hit. And it will do 8. It was once one of the teamsters who was preparing to head away with the wagon, and it will go to Doc. No, that creature's not the same. It's trying to grasp at you with that same fucking one. Same palm, as it will miss at you as you step away. Alright, before you roll that, don't roll yet. So, as you approach into that area, you have a sense of dread just overcome you as you see this dark black, just void of light. Just northeast, or just north and west of Hadar, and you feel just this terrible sense of dread overcome your body. Let's see. Yeah, you gain the sense that if you are to make eye contact with this creature that's just beyond your target, that you may be overcome by whatever sort of magic that it has. At present, you would have the idea whether you want to divert your eyes and make an attack at disadvantage, or risk whatever sort of magic that this creature possesses. No, I'm saying that you are close enough to this creature that you recognize at this point that to make an attack without diverting your eyes is in danger of that creature's magic. Alright, I need you to make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw. I should not have told you the DC beforehand, but okay. I think an 11 is sufficiently bad that you would probably know. You are able to prevent a little bit of this sense of dread, and your brain kind of feels like a shriek of pain as you feel like the slightest glint of this damage being avoided. And you can make your attacks on the ghoul. Yeah, 12 hits. Yep, it has a little bit of life left. 13 hits. I think that's 30 to where you went. And it will go to Arla. 22 hits. Alright, mark off another -1 to your longsword, and it will destroy the wraith as the divine light sinks into its flesh. It almost becomes like a dust before you as it loses its form, and the last thing that you see is the eyes of this creature just glaring into you as it loses its form and disappears into the morning dew. 20 will hit. It is indeed undead. Again, as the radiant damage sinks into this creature, you see far more damage being done to it by the light than what your weapon itself has done. And it maintains a little bit of its form, and I believe that'll end your turn. It is going to pull the palm back, how it was trying to react to Doc, as it tries to reach into your face. 11 plus 4, 15 will miss. Your AC is the reason why every single creature in this combat has something that is not an attack. Yeah, it's god-awful. Well, shit can just be normal if people have, accomplishable ACs. I mean, I don't intend to throw combats at you all if they're not going to be challenging. That just wastes time, so there's got to be some sort of balance. At the end of your turn, Hadar, can you make a Constitution saving throw, please? Yep, you're paralyzed. You are still paralyzed. And let's see how that operates with the creature next to you. Yeah, because you can't divert your eyes if you're paralyzed. So I don't see a reason why you would be able to. So let me have you do a DC or a Constitution saving throw, please. That's a good one to pass. Oh, I also need Doc to take 5 necrotic. And then Hadar to take 5 necrotic. The creature is going to move forward into Hadar, and it is going to reach out with its fist and swoop down on him for, let's see, 19 should hit. It will be a critical, so it will do 16 necrotic damage to you, 8 bludgeoning damage. So a total of 24 damage to you. And while you see into the darkness of this thing's face as it approaches you, you just see a cold darkness devoid of light inside of this thing's mouth as it's opening its mouth, and in the process of swiping at you, its mouth is almost twice the size of your head as it is approaching you with its mouth open, and it is starting to reach over your flesh and body. And it will go to the Banshee. It is going to move up and just let out an extremely loud and horrific wail. And I need Arlau and Vicious to make Constitution saving throw. It's absurd that was even possible. Both of you are going to fall over unconscious at 0 hit points. DC 13. That's why I say it's absurd that you were even able to fail that with a +6. And it is going to go to... I don't even know if it's like unstable. It's just like falling over, essentially dead. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna roll it because you're just everybody's gonna sense the scream. These aren't like bloody wounds or anything. It's like falling over from fright. And it's gonna go to Doc, both of you. But like that was me rolling a death save for you as Vicious. Yeah. Well, AC isn't everything. That's my point. If you rock out massive amounts of AC, I can't do anything to make it entertaining if nothing can ever hit you. While most of these things are Constitution saving throws, yours was supposed to be really strong against it. The Spectre is well injured. I think that thing is at just a few hit points left. I don't know if you have attacked it yet to recognize that it takes less damage from physical attacks, but it is otherwise, yeah, it's already wispy where its nature is hardly holding the visage of that driver back like in one, so it is indeed well wounded if you were to look across at it. Well, again, when I tell you that your radiant damage is far more effective, that's me telling you the radiant damage dealt normal damage, everything else did half damage. Most things don't have like negative resistances. Most things have resistance where they take less damage instead of that they take extra damage. The purple one, a 19 will hit, and that will kill it. Yeah, I believe both of the last two things are currently at full health. Who has the party's healing potions on them? Vicious has one, so you would know that Vicious has a healing potion, but that would take an action to use, so I don't think you could even heal her at this point. Make a medicine check for me. That was the one option. Let's see. You can't actually help Hadar, so there's no way to hit him out of it. But you have enough of a background in battle. Let's say, for what it's worth, you are able to kind of approach him, and with, I don't know, we'll give you like a fake action out of the Stone of Good Luck, and you will be able to give him a +2 to his Constitution throw to get out of it, but it is not essentially, it's purely just kind of, this is a shitstorm, and that's kind of the option that you have, but you can divert your eyes as you approach him, and in approaching him you can use a touch from the stone to give him a +2 on that Constitution save. Yep, it would take the rest of your actions. You would basically only have movement left and be able to... and let me have Hadar make a Constitution saving throw with advantage to close your eyes as this creature seems to be about to eat your face. That is a success. And then let me have you make a Constitution saving throw with +2 to try to shrug off the paralyzation at the end of your turn. I believe the DC was 10, so you are unparalyzed. And I believe it's at the end of your turn that each of you will take 5 damage from being so close to this creature. That was downed. Is 5 damage from it there? You guys still have... I rolled for you. That's one of the things, like, I had you roll in public before because I did 2 damage to you. So it was already well known that your guy was about to die. So I think we were at the end of Hadar's turn. Hadar is now no longer paralyzed. The Bodak damage would have pinged, and that would have downed him. And then I threw Tynus in. So Tynus will come from defending one of the peripheral areas. We're going to have him join the combat at present. So, I believe what I'm going to do is move up to this Banshee, and he's going to proc his Divine Radiance. I think the Banshee can handle a 6. Yeah, no con, so it is a 6. It will fail that. I believe it is 2d10 plus 5. So I'll do 11 damage to the Banshee, 16 damage to the Banshee. And then a bonus action, going to Healing Word Vicious.
Yay.
Rough for 6 hit points.
But she's alive and well, so that's all that matters.
And just throw it out there. I did it for you, Vicious, because you are next in the initiative order of the players who are downed on that side. Part of doing that is counting on you to get Arlyle up.
Are those like named NPCs or are they just randos?
Those are the NPCs who were guarding the noble that you all saved from the hobgoblins. So Meldros is the knight, and then the 2 priests are Lenazi and Finivel.
Nice.
I went to school with somebody with that name.
Finivel?
Yeah, I'm just joking because they're ridiculous names.
One of the joys of being a DM is trying to come up with names before, after, and during a session. So I have I have so many different lists of just names written down both like in scratch notes as well as nearby. And I often will just take like 2 different names and mash them together from the list. That way I never accidentally grab the same name twice. I think it would be absurd if I ever actually did.
Yeah, they're cool names. I'm just saying that just imagine somebody in real life with a name like that.
I usually just use drug names like Kozar and Ozempic. They're both drug names. I don't know what the drugs are though.
Xanax, get my back.
Save me penicillin.
Man. I'm kind of busy right now, man. I don't know if I can help you. I'm just chilling. God
Get
damn it,
aspirin and
Xanax.
Tylenol in the fight.
So let's see. I populated them, but I didn't actually think what I was going to do with them. So I am going to have, I guess, a Constitution save first. As they look at the Bodak, a 14 will be good for 15 total. I think it's dangerous as fuck to heal Adar right now with that guy. I am going to shoot a guiding bolt into the Bodak. That's gonna whiff so bad. What's his plus? Spell attack is plus 5, 11. It's going to whiff like right through the Bodak. He's gonna take 5 damage from being inside of the Bodak's range. And it's going to go to the Bodak itself. Bodak is going to look at the priest, and the priest is going to scream in pain. 10. He had a +1 con. So 11 passes, but he does not. He will take, 11 fails, but he will take some damage from it still. 3d10. And then it's gonna go to Vicious.
All right, so Arlyle's still down.
That is correct. The
I'm
priest.
gonna run
is
over to
going
him and
take
stabilize him, and I think that's probably all I can do.
What did you do?
Yep.
Healer's kit?
So use your healer's kit. I think you've used it twice this campaign, or this session. So remember to mark down those actual uses to keep track of your actual healer's kit. But what is it? I think you roll a d6 +4 +5 for Arlyle's hit dice.
All right, I think that's what I got last time too.
Sorry, it's me here. It's on full.
So you can gain 10 hit points, Arlyle.
Right, thank you, Vicious.
So I guess we can both basically stand up because I'm at 6.
It's going well.
The Banshee is going to move up to Vicious and reach out with her fist to... God damn it, I don't know which die I just rolled. 8 +4, 12 to hit. I believe that'll miss.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Next priest is going to do a flame strike on the Bodak. It's the wrong word for it, but 15, I believe. 15 hit. Sacred Flame, there we go. 4 damage. And then he's going to healing word Hadar. 4 hit points, Hadar. Jan still conscious?
Achtung, Jan.
He might be in character creation. Give him a sec.
But with that, we will go to Doc.
This may be too much for me to ask, but do I get any kind of idea as to whether or not the Bodak's ability is like a 360-degree type thing, or if it's like only in its like frontal arc?
You feel the general sense of dread from being close to it, but there is a difference between seeing in the arc of its face and being near it. Jan, if you can hear me right now, I already updated your character sheet on D&D Beyond, but you have 4 hit points right now. But if that answers it for you, Doc, yes, there is a difference between being behind it and being in front of it.
Okay, that's what I was going for. I'm going to creep up behind the Bodak, and then I'm going to sharpshooter a knife in its back. Yikes, 13.
We need like some definition of like final answer where you're not going to modify it. If when you call out the number, that is you saying I'm not going to modify it, that's fine.
That's what I was going for. When I said yikes 13, that was me basically saying like I'm sticking with 13. Like,
Yep, that's a miss.
Mark. Okay, next one. Oh, okay. So sort of fluffed that one. And that's it for my turn.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yep, now we've got you back. The knight is going to make a constitution save. 19 will be good. And then he is going to take a shot with his heavy crossbow. The Bodak. 17 will hit. Do 2 damage. And then it will go to Arlisle.
Okay, so I'm going to move to here. Yeah, here, and I'm going to use my Channel Divinity to turn you unholy. So DC 14, I think it is, for both the Banshee, what's he called, Bojack, to be turned. Wisdom saving throw.
Word. You will see as both of the creatures seem to shriek in fright at the sign of the divine nature of soon dropping to the earth, forming an avatar around your body. Anything else from you?
I'm just going to shout, let them flee, don't attack them, and then that'll end my turn. Or should I lay on hands? No, that's an action. That ends my turn.
And it will go to Hadar.
Well, I definitely do not want to get too close to that thing. So I'm gonna take 1 step back, and then I'm gonna start to fire my Radiant Sunbolt once first at the thing that killed me nearly. A 14 to hit.
14 will miss.
1 second, I somehow need to reload my roll 20. 1 second. But I will do the same thing again, and
25 hits.
You ain't feared no more.
8 radiant damage.
I can't believe that you have done this.
Did you hear Josh when he said that?
What did Josh say? I missed it.
I feared them both, and then I shouted to everyone to not attack them and let them run away.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear it, but it's too late now.
Make a wisdom saving throw for me, or a wisdom check for me. Do you want to take it back and not attack the Bodak? That is assuming you, Jan, did not hear Josh say not to attack it.
So I probably missed the part because I was fixing my microphone and everything.
Yeah, so do you want to take that back? That was a check that your character would have been intelligent or like actually perceptive enough to hear Arlisle yell out not to attack it.
Well, then I'm I'm gonna take it back for now and see what will happen then. Yeah, I mean, if you give me the choice, I will take it now. Yeah, I think.
All right, so you still feel the general air of dread from being next to this thing? Is that where you're going to end your turn?
I'm gonna move a little bit further away from it.
Excellent, because 30 feet would have killed you.
Gonna move somewhere here, so I'm between both threads somewhere. Yeah, probably 1 step more here, like here. Yeah, that would be my turn.
Yeah, I don't think you could have actually been close enough to both of them, Josh. You are currently 35 feet away from the Bodak and 30 feet away from the Banshee.
I thought I was 30 from them both.
Yeah, I was like trying to look at it to see if there was any way, and I'm like, man, I don't know. He's like
That's
one
one of the
space too
problems
far.
with how the geometry is not real geometry, is that it's essentially like there's no difference between the diagonals. It's like non-Pythagorean. So it's always the same count basically, regardless of whether you're like, it's crazy how it plays out. But you have to kind of choose whether you want the Bodak or the Banshee to be afraid of you.
I'm gonna go with the Bodak. It seems like a bigger bitch.
All right, I need you to take 5 hit points. But it is necrotic, so you would take 2 hit points from being close enough to its aura. And with that, Tynus is going to... I think Tynus is going to Guiding Bolt the Banshee. God damn. Oh wait, I can actually roll his straight up. Holy fuck, he doesn't have Guiding Bolt on this guy?
That seems like a faux pas.
How are you gonna make a cleric without Guiding Bolt? It's like the most amazing spell ever. It's a shitload of fucking damage dice, and it gives somebody advantage right behind you.
Oh yeah, so you went for Word of Radiance instead.
No, not the cantrip. Like his actual spell choices are what were surprising me. Guiding Bolt's just a wicked... It's like a level 1 spell that scales up. And it's, I think, like 4d6 at the level 1. And then it gives the person after you advantage. It's just a very powerful spell. There's so much of your shit to catch on fire to use any fire spells. I guess I'm going to drop a spiritual weapon. And it's going to whiff hard. And then use Toll the Dead for wisdom 14. 6 is definitely going to fail, so 2d12. One time you get to roll d12. Sweet Toll the Dead. A 1 and an 8. So 9. Not have that yet, so 9 damage to the bench. Then it's going to that guard, who I think was the one that moved away. Bodak. And I don't think he did anything, so he is going to drop a Guiding Bolt into the Banshee. Plus 5, a 20 will hit. 4d6. 4d6. And it will give the next person advantage. All 3s, so 12 damage. With that, the Banshee would look pretty fucked up. And then it's going to go to the Bodak. It's going to look into the knight's eyes, and just a terrible silence kind of comes from it as it opens its mouth. The knight will pass. Take half of 4d10.
Is the Bodak not feared?
Oh yeah, shit. The Bodak's the one that was feared. So it's going to actually run away.
Thank God for that. Or thanks Suda for that.
And we'll go to Vicious. The Banshee below you is currently glowing with the sunlight rays of Lathander.
Okay, well, I don't have the ability to do radiant damage, so I guess I'm gonna try to hit it from a distance and throw a javelin at it.
Make a wisdom check for me, please. Actually, intelligence, my bad, not wisdom. Why were you thinking about radiant damage? Let me ask you that.
Because before you had said radiant damage was doing more to it than other stuff.
Versus people who were attacking with non-magical weapons. Does Vicious have a magical weapon?
Oh, okay, so I should run up and hit it with a maul? Which, I don't even understand how these things... Isn't it incorporeal?
It is indeed.
So how does hitting it with a maul actually do anything?
Is it a magical maul?
It's a +1? I guess so?
That is indeed a magical item.
Okay, so I'll hit it with the magical item.
An 11 misses.
Does it take drool damage, though?
What is that, a con save versus that one? I know it's a DC 14, but what's the actual save?
It is lightning damage, DC 14, half damage on success. Dexterity, DC 14.
Dex word. +2, it got a 13, so it will take 6. Which I
Should
assume
get 2
means that
attacks, right,
you were
Jamie?
burning through another rage as well, but yeah, you have another attack.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
A 14 hits for 12 more damage.
Okay, great. This thing is still standing, kinda. Whatever it does.
I think at that point that is... Oh, shit. Fishing for crits. You would have actually hit with that first attack because you had advantage, so the 12 would have hit. So that second attack would bring it... Actually, that first attack would be enough to bring it down. If you're raging 16 plus the 6. My bad. Forgot you had advantage there. So depending on how everybody goes about this next few moments here, if you allow the Bodak to flee, as it would want to do, this has been a diverted combat, and we will call it for this day.